Right, now I can unmute everyone. Alright, we're all here. Oh, Dora, Clive and Fred are out there. Farmers is in a meeting, so he won't be here for a little while. Terry can't tech. What do you mean I can't tech, Clive?
No, it's
Can't
me.
It was Paul that time, Clive. They're talking behind our backs. Yeah, we're talking about you behind your back when we're muted. Ah. Yeah, we're going to be crossing. Not crossing. We're going to be fighting with Creaky because Creaky's live. Is he live yet? He will be in 2 minutes.
Got this countdown
Uh,
clock on.
I'll just see if any of our regulars are showing up there or not. I can't see anyone. Can't see anyone in the side chat. Mr. 42's over there. No, I can't see anyone else. Well. Oh, I see an Alan Evans over there. Oh. What's he doing over
Yeah, I might put a bit of a over there.
there?
It's a nice time to stream. So I might have replied with a yeah. That's why Terry's been doing the Aussie perspective at this time for the last 4 years.
We should be all good. Oh, make a note of who the traders are, Dora. Yeah. Wait a minute, what's Farmer saying? I'm doing this on my phone, and he's, let's say, something in Chime, and I'm chatting on Team. Oh, you're multitasking, Farmer. Carl's lurking. Well, you've got somebody there, J something, something N.
You want a clue, do you?
J.
There you go, there's a clue.
J. Today's mathematician was the person who invented logarithms. He also brought the decimal point into common use. I've heard about the decimal point. J something. It'd be too easy if it's a John.
I finally got one.
You finally got one, did you, Alan?
You got it right.
I think so.
No.
Oh.
Well, I guessed John.
We...
I wouldn't have guessed his last name.
But Clive Wells got it right.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I typed my second attempt before I saw what Clive Wells had put.
Oh, okay.
Okay, good. That's correct, Alan.
Hey, Mr. Blue. Hey, Mr. Blue. G'day, mate.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. How you guys doing?
We're doing good.
Just hanging around.
Yeah.
Here's
Sorry
Mr.
for
Blue
being
Marble
late.
Science, the unsubtle hint giver extraordinaire. I was listening to your show, Blue, and I hear Sean Hawkins say something, and I hear Blue respond with, "This is my show."
I definitely have
Hawkins never knows. He just doesn't know when to shut up sometimes.
I know.
I I'd definitely have to play a bite for that. That'd be a laugh.
Can I just ask you, Paul? Sorry, Blue.
Yeah.
The good news is it's just hard to offend him, I think.
Mm.
Yeah.
That first name I typed, he was a French mathematician, wasn't he?
Okay. I don't know. I've never heard of him.
Uh,
So,
I've obviously butchered the spelling as well, of course.
mm,
And there's no way I'm going to try and pronounce it because, like,
no, I
shall I?
wouldn't know either.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, and I think even that subtle hint was lost on him too, Blue.
Yeah, it ramped up his participation ramped up as we went
Yeah.
through the evening. Uh, well, yeah, I like Sean sometimes.
In small doses.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
remember when he first started streaming. I was one of his first. That was a while back.
Yeah, I don't really care much for his style of reviewing things. To me, it's hard to follow because he stops. I mean, he doesn't let you got to let the guy be an asshole first before you call him an asshole.
Mm.
And Sean will turn, say, especially when it's somebody he really doesn't like, he won't let them get 5 words out of their mouth, and he stops and berates them for 5 minutes. Like, Jesus, Sean. Give him a chance.
Did anyone watch any of the Kent Hovind and Planer Walks debate?
I didn't.
Nope. Me.
I didn't think Planer
Can't
Walk could have.
imagine.
I didn't think Planer Walk could have much knowledge for Kent Hovind's.
You don't exactly need a lot of knowledge to beat Kent Hovind. You just need to watch a few of his videos.
Pretty much trots out the same old shite.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty much like talking to a flat earther. I mean, the only thing that Kent doesn't believe in is flat earth.
Yeah, that's weird.
Wait, Ken Hovind thinks the Earth's a sphere.
Yes.
Oh, damn. I might have to think about switching sides.
He's even a heliocentrist.
Oh, that's strange.
Isn't it?
Hmm.
Oh, we've got Creaky going over there. Got a Lindsay
There you go.
ready. Earth
John
is
Napier. Damn, you finally asked one I would have known the answer to. No, I wasn't here.
Well, you went far off. You like with the timing. That's only only a minute, a couple of minutes. Farmers is in a meeting at the moment, so he'll be sometime.
Yeah, sorry I was late. I was just overslept. I have no excuse, sir.
No, I haven't got a jar for oversleeping. I've only got a swear jar.
Oh,
Okay.
well, fuck it. I'll put something in the swear jar.
uh, oh, Kent fails to define kind repeatedly. Oh, we'll watch a little bit of that for now. Unless you just want to watch Lindsay, you've got a choice. Debate or Lindsay? I'll put it to the vote. I do have other debates here. Like, who else did I find? Oh, you got the usual Fight the Flat Earth. Who else did? Oh, McToon done one. I've got one here for McToon. MC Toon, sorry.
Always a Quantum Eraser show from yesterday if you get totally bored.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh yeah, that was very good, wasn't it?
Yeah. Gets better toward the well, he did a little bit of a hit piece on me.
Oh,
Oh, and guess what? What do you think the topic would have been?
Cavendish.
No,
It'd have to
if it's not Cavendish, it's going to be Coriolis, right?
be. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
To be Coriolis.
And
Oh,
I
you can
bet
play.
he got it all wrong.
Well, you can play a bit of that if you want. So, look, peanuts.
He amazingly asked the question, how can you have an inertial force without an inertial reference frame? And I said,
I haven't got a QE. Don't follow QE over there. Anyone got that at hand?
I do. Hang on. Yeah, take me a second. I'll find it.
Oh, Clive wants a Lindsay lecture. You're really, really asking for it, aren't you, Clive?
Yeah, so my real question for the quantum dumbass is how the hell do you have an inertial force in an inertial frame of reference?
Yeah, that doesn't sound right to me.
Let's see. I'll put it in fair suck, Jerry.
Yeah, that'll do. That'll move up the idiot. Yeah, I'll show the peanuts what I'll be putting up with.
There you go.
Oh no, don't put it on that way. I'll go the other way. Where is it? Yeah.
I just didn't feel like laying it down.
I'll let that play for a minute for the peanuts. Free Wi-Fi. Well, it goes for 2.25 hours. So, do you want to play somewhere from where you left it, which is about an hour in? That's where it starts
Hang
from.
on. You talking to me?
Yeah, yeah. When you post it, it's an hour into it already.
Oh yeah, somewhere. I don't know. I'll get you a timestamp.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can figure it out.
Yeah, 10 minutes or less. That'll do.
Gin over at Gems.
Oh no. Is it good?
Well,
I don't know if I got a migraine or a headache. Both.
I said to him the other day, I said, if all the villages with an idiot in them, if all those idiots left their villages and formed a village of their own, then in that village, he would still be the
Village idiot. uh, and what did you actually said that out loud?
No, I typed it to him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, about an hour, 7:45 or something like that. It's about where he started on me.
Okay, I'll go to an hour 5. Yeah. Okay, there. He doesn't need to be on Lindsay's speed, does he? Does he talk slow or fast? He talks fast anyway, doesn't he?
Yeah, he talks fast enough.
Yeah. Damn, I missed the actual mathematician's answer already. No, you didn't, John. There we go. Got some sound. When Farmer turns up, we'll say we haven't played Lindsay yet. We can play him now.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Train wrecks itself just right off the cuff. Right? This gets better. If the atmosphere, that's a contradiction in terms, by the way, spins with the earth, which that, by the way, the spins with the earth, violates Boyle's law, Charles' law, Gay-Lussac's law, Avogadro's law, parts of Dalton's law, the second law of thermodynamics, and Brownian motion, then, like I said, all we'd have is a single rotating, non-inertial spinning reference frame.
Throws it all in a bucket and
then you
mixes
say, well,
it up.
QE, that's
So
what
he
we
understands
got.
none of those.
Really?
laws.
From Britannica.com, Coriolis force, also called the Coriolis effect in classical mechanics, an inertial force. So let me ask you, bum-sniffing baltards, how can you have an inertial force without an inertial reference frame?
Pause it right there. Pause it right there, too.
Okay.
That is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard anybody say.
Yeah.
Inertial forces disappear in inertial frames of reference.
Yeah.
They're only present in non-inertial frames of reference, you dumbass. My God. I'm doing a video on this, by the way. So.
Okay.
Great.
This is too good to pass up.
Okay.
I know.
Well, take notes, Blue, and then you'll have it all ready to go.
Yeah, but I thought, yeah.
Nerd friggin' mongs. How you like that? And then you say, QE, we never said that. Of course, they said that, less than 30 seconds ago. We didn't say that. That's not what we mean. Right? I got you by the short hairs.
Oh, before I forget, were you there, Paul, when Jin was lying about something to do with that laser thing?
Is the question, was I there when Jin was lying? Well, anytime he's there, he's lying. So if I happened to be there at the same time as him, I was there when he was lying, by definition. I don't know, Terry.
Oh, no, it was funny. It was funny.
So, from this numpty dipshit, from Hillbilly Blue Balls, the redneck retard, Mr. Gumby Football Field. We'll get to that. I don't know if we'll get that today. He's got so many names. We may not get that today, but that's coming. We might have a teaser for next week. That's fucking hilarious. But anyway, I digress.
Geez, how many flat earthers have got it out for you, Blue?
How many are there? 'Cause I think they all do.
Wow.
QE, we never said that. Well, the poster child of numpty baltard dipshits did. This is what he said. It is one non-inertial reference frame. That's where Coriolis takes place, not two reference frames. That's on recorded video on one of his dipshit presentations. I went and got it from
Yeah, and I'm
Flat
proud
Soil. I
of it,
remember
too,
Flat Soil.
idiot.
So what's he saying? He's picked a bit out of your video and...
This has been QE's contention. He's the one that taught it wrongly to Nathan Oakley and the rest of the retards on that side of the fence. If you look in Wikipedia, they reference what they say is that it occurs when an object travels in a non-inertial reference frame, rotating with respect to an inertial frame.
Yeah.
That's just a way to describe a non-inertial rotating frame of reference. That's all. That inertial frame doesn't come into play. But Mr. Smartass here has had that wrong from day one. And they will absolutely, every one of them, insist that you cannot possibly have Coriolis without an inertial frame and a non-inertial frame. It's just wrong.
I might have to study up on those inertial frames in some videos or something.
So I did something on him a while ago. This is where I got it. It took me back to that video. So that's what he said. So, booger-eating hillbilly ball-tard bum sniffer. How do we have Coriolis, which is an inertial force, without an inertial reference frame? Riddle me that.
Oh, man.
You clown fuck of epic proportions. That's only one of this numpty dipshit's claims.
Oh, God.
That's what's so funny. Any place you go and get a definition of the Coriolis effect, it's going to have this in it. So what you got? You're finished. How can you have the Coriolis takes place in only one non-inertial reference frame, not two reference frame, but have the Coriolis be an inertial force?
Oh, my God.
Married bachelors are over in the corner, doubled over from tear-jerking belly laugher syndrome. You're
John
an
does not know
abject
what an inertial
retard,
force
sir.
is.
And
What's that, mate?
John doesn't know what an inertial force is. I don't think.
No, I don't think he does either, you know.
I think that's the problem.
Yeah.
everyone that follows you or comes up with this idiot argument. It's a simple question. How can it be only one non-inertial reference frame and the Coriolis is an inertial force? How can that happen? I leave it to you, jury.
That's where inertial forces happen.
Game,
Oh, man.
set, match. That's where all the fun comes in. Is everyone having fun now? Everyone getting it?
Yeah, pause it.
I'm gonna leave.
Pause it, Terry. Oh, God. That's too funny.
It is.
Sure.
It is.
Very inertial forces are what we call fictitious forces, right, Paul?
Yeah,
That's what we call
absolutely.
them.
I mean, I can
This,
read a definition here for you. It says fictitious force, a pseudo force, a D'Alembert force, inertial force is a force that appears to act on a mass whose motion is described using a non-inertial frame of reference.
Is
there
that
you
where
go.
There it is, right
They,
there.
they, Terry, these are forces. It's a force like the force you think you feel, you actually do feel when you accelerate in a linear fashion in your car. That's an inertial force.
Mhm.
When your car goes
Or
around a corner and you feel
or
as if you're being pushed into the door.
Oh,
yeah,
okay. Yeah.
centrifugal force.
Yeah, that's what I was going to
Those
say, centrifugal
gravity,
forces.
yeah, gravity in some senses can be described as a inertial force,
Right.
a fictitious force. Uh, but Coriolis is most definitely one of those. It only emerges. It only exists in the rotating frame of reference, the non-inertial reference frame.
Yeah,
If the frame of reference is not accelerating, you cannot have an inertial force.
that's right.
And this guy has completely missed it. I'm gonna really rip him a new one. Anyway, this was just too funny. And he thinks he's got me.
Yeah, I know.
That's the funny thing. The gorilla's got him by the throat and he thinks he's winning.
Yeah.
Good luck, Kiwi.
A bit more?
Lead this up.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe it'll burn a hole in your retinas. Questions, comments, concerns?
Don't show his father like that.
Say again?
I said, don't talk about Kosho's father like that.
Oh, brother.
Yeah, concerns for the coon tick hounds.
Oh, the blue tick goonhounds. So,
Well, hopefully not that other. What was it? The Lone Star tick.
the Lone Star tick. Boy, you're just going off on just flapping with different topics.
Yeah.
I had one on my
Yeah.
shirt the other day.
Yeah. Well, you need to be careful.
I sent him back to Texas in a body bag.
Why Texas, anyway?
It's hard to kill those sons of bitches, too. I tried to crush him, but he's so damn flat. It's hard to kill those sons.
Mm-hmm. Well, you can.
They're dug in like Lone Star ticks.
Hmm.
So, my question is, how can you have the Coriolis effect only be working in one non-inertial reference frame when the Coriolis effect is defined as an inertial force?
Yeah. It's all double speak, double think in their minds. It's with any topic, by the way. The doctrination goes deep, right?
It is. It is. This. Yeah. Yeah. Mr. Gumby football field, Mr. photosynthetic redneck, Mr. gas pressure without a container showing up with 2 containers with gas pressure.
Did he had that pipe running along his house all the way up, and then it was not topped off? Something
Yeah.
like that?
Yeah, he had something like a 30-foot pipe. Of course, he never talks about effusion, which is a great example of the second law of thermodynamics and the mean free path loss of particles.
Hmm.
He never talks about that because he doesn't know his ass from a pipe wrench. That's why. If you
Well,
can't,
he had
go ahead.
that pipe running around along his house, so at least he could attach one.
Yeah, he had like a quarter-inch. What was a quarter-inch pipe or something? I don't know.
Yeah.
And then my rebuttal.
That container can.
Yeah. 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 Well, one of
I
my
remember
rebuttal. I'm
back
going
in
to
the
get
day.
this. I'm going to get this out eventually.
Oh, sorry.
One of my rebuttals is instead of having that 30-foot long quarter-inch pipe, let's get another pipe. Let's have it 3 feet tall and have the diameter 6 feet and see how much pressure stays in there and for how long. Right? Because the mean free path of those molecules with the diameter so large, they're going to take off quick. However, because you collapse them in a small pipe like that with a lot of distance, effusion, that is,
What?
you got a problem with a little hole.
Is he talking about your container with the
Yeah.
pressure, the gas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my open top pipe still chaps his ass.
Mm.
But I'm curious now. Maybe Paul can help me. How does changing the diameter of the path, the diameter of the pipe, change the mean free path length?
It doesn't.
That's what I thought. What is this fool babbling
Yeah.
about?
Well, your very tall, very narrow bucket.
Only you should make the diameter of the pipe less than the mean free path length.
What's the free path part?
Mean free path is how far a molecule can travel before it impacts something, contacts something, right?
Yeah.
And in the atmosphere down here at atmospheric pressure close to sea level, that mean free path is nanometers. I think it's really, really small. Those molecules don't move hardly. I mean, it's very, very short. There's an answer to that, and I don't know what it is right off the top of my head, but
It's about 0.1 micrometers.
oof.
So unless you make a pipe that's got a diameter of less than 0.1 micrometers, you ain't going to affect the mean free path of the molecules.
That's right.
Oh, we can play Lindsay now. Farmer's here.
Hi. Oh, I've got another meeting to go
Oh,
to.
do
sorry.
you? Oh, that's unfortunate. I mean, fortunate for you, but
No, it's
Okay,
not.
that's enough QE. Put Lindsay on.
okay.
You haven't been delaying it just for me, have you? Please don't.
No. You know, I do some debates and stuff, and then Blue mentioned this, and I thought, well, this would be a good.
It's
for a
okay.
laugh.
I have a defective mug. Either somebody's drunk me too, or it's got a hole in the bottom.
It must have a hole in it. Yeah.
Oh dear. I don't know what's worse, QE or Lindsay.
Oh, I thought this would be a bit of a change. Lindsay's only got 2 more videos left in his channel anyway, so we can catch up with them ones pretty quick. Blue's gonna make a video about this. So
I should hope so too. Yeah, it's particularly astounding.
well, it was either going to be about the Cavendish or Coriolis. So this was Coriolis.
Hole at the top, and you have a lot of surface area, you have a lot of surface for those gas molecules, it's going to eventually get out because time is directly proportional with entropy, right? You're just delaying the inevitable, but you think you're Jedi mind tricking. I don't know whether
Sure
they're
about
doing
that?
it on purpose.
What was that? Do you see talking about entropy?
Yeah, are you sure that's directly proportional, QE?
I don't think so.
I'm
No.
pretty sure that's an exponential.
Or they're just as dumb as fuck. I'm rolling to the second one.
Well, it worked because Danny Faulkner used it.
Danny Faulkner. The one that said not
Oh,
to
they
get your
still
information
pissed at
off
me.
the internet, and then he got his information off the internet. That numpty dipshit.
Yes, you hit it, bingo.
And he put his information on the internet.
Yep. So did this burn a hole in everyone's retinas just yet? You just relax with Mr. Gumby football field. This was a flashback because I didn't realize it at the time when I was watching Flatzoid's video. Because I went to get his exact quote out of off that video, And of course, I was watching the video, and he come up with something else that I had completely, no one caught it, right? I didn't catch it. But as soon as it flashed up on the screen, I said, oh, my God, Mr. Gumby football field. Where do you see this? But that's a teaser for next week. And then we'll finish up the Coriolis effect argument. Good? Anyone have any?
I think Mike DeGrasse Tyson used that Coriolis effect as well with on football, right?
Yeah,
Wasn't
it's connected to that. Yes.
because I think that he said something that that ball wouldn't have been like a goal or something because of the Coriolis effect, something like that. There was some stupid
Well, you
stuff
paid a lot of
that he
attention,
said.
then, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all right. We don't want to go too much into that. That'll ruin the teaser.
Well, plus
Well, I
I think
remember-
she confused Mike Tyson with Neil deGrasse
That's
Tyson.
Tyson. Yeah, I don't think Mike Tyson really knows much about Coriolis somehow.
Well, I doubt it. He knows a little bit about physics.
Yeah.
Yes.
The impact of a fist into your face. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Remember, that's what I
She
wanted
actually
to
did
say.
call him Mike.
Sorry,
I think
Bliss.
she actually did call him Mike Tyson earlier. Okay. Yeah.
I was rumpus by you that I was making that thumbnail about that guy. What's his name? Hillbilly
Blue Balls, the redneck retard,
Yeah,
a.k.a.
he's not
photosynthetic. Oh, she ain't going to let me finish.
Yeah, but I want to know the real name, for crying out loud. What is his name?
Hillbilly Blue Balls, the redneck retard.
No, if you're going to Google that, you won't get to him.
Somebody tried to Google that.
I did. I never got to the guy. So what is his real name?
Why isn't it
God.
working?
You mean, what's his
the thing
YouTube
is that
channel?
when I made that
Yeah.
thumbnail for the presentation we're going to do, that whole can that he had there, that was like, I clipped that out and sort of enlarged it.
Oh, I'll go
right?
get that.
Because
I know what you're talking about. 1 second. I'll go ahead and post it up.
that was really like interesting, right? To see that he used the can in the as a container first. Because how could he buy that whole gas to even put in that pipe, right?
Is that it?
Well, yeah.
For now.
No,
Until you
no. Not is that it? Not are you done? But I posted what your thumbnail.
Is this a gas container? Yes, it's contained gas, pressurized
Yeah,
gas, that is.
That on the right is definitely a gas container. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a container for pressurized gas.
Yeah.
You're not going to get it any other way.
That's it.
You don't generally go out and buy gas in an open pipe. In fact, you don't generally go out and buy anything in an open pipe.
You can buy buckets and stuff, and I would assert that a pipe closed at one end and open at the other is a very long, narrow bucket.
Yeah.
I suppose so. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't usually go to the store to get propane in a bucket.
Yeah. Could I
Pour
have
me
a
on
bucket of
container.
propane?
What? This bucket? Can you just fill the bucket up, please? Yeah.
You
Just
can take
careful now.
You can take your own plastic
Well-
bag. You've got to reuse, recycle these days.
Let's don't forget too that what started this fight was these guys claiming that you couldn't have gas pressure without a sealed container.
Yeah, but they don't say that.
That
They just say container.
that was well. They like to forget that, but I've got QE. I can play it as many times as I like.
Yeah.
I've got QE specifically saying, and it better be a sealed container, or the gas will escape. That's a direct quote.
Mhm.
Now that's what I was responding to.
Yeah.
Please, the open top pipe is not a sealed container, you nitwits. And that's what burned their asses.
Yeah.
They quickly changed their definition. Now, an open pipe is a container for gas pressure somehow, but they can't even make their mind up about that. But this one is still bothering them, and I like it. Every now and again, I'm going to just repost it, I think, just for the hell of it.
Yeah.
Just because I know it pisses them off.
Just rub it into the wound a bit more.
Yep.
Oh, it's not come up yet, so need to wait a little. There's a
Posted
lag.
today.
Go on, Adam.
Posted in main chat on the Coriolis virus symptoms. What Betty's alluding to there is one of the things that they'll do, what you highlighted with Hillbilly Blue Balls, redneck retard, correct? They'll go against their own priests, their own statements of what this is, just to try and hold it together. Betty alluded to there. The disgraced Tyson makes a positive statement that the Earth is rotating, that there are two different reference frames. But as you've listened to Hillbilly there, his way to hold it together is to have Coriolis in just one, the non-inertial reference frame. Has he got the banana?
Yeah, I haven't got the.
Did you go for the banana?
I was just about to reach over. You're like, I don't know. What do you got? Like Evo mind powers or something?
Yeah, well, I'm just thinking. If you're going to do that, put up the Coriolis things, and it will just highlight what they do. This is what we on the debate kind of put together in terms of.
Where is it?
It's in the main. I said it's in the main chat.
Why are you putting it in the main chat and we're in Ballbuster?
Ballbusters.
Keep digging, fellas.
I don't know, because that's what was on screen.
Keep digging.
Platter, hold on. Platter asked, is this where QE's visuals are getting posted? No, they're getting posted on the YouTube channel. That's okay. You're fine. We're waiting on Adam to post.
I'm putting it in Ballbusters live stream text. There you go.
All right. 1 second. You want me to pull that up?
Yeah, if you pull that up, you can have your banana.
All right, go ahead.
I'll wait for to see it on screen. Like I said, this was just the kind of stuff we put together through actually debating.
What are they going on about now?
With the guys, you know, the ballers when they come in. And
oh, good Lord.
As you'll see, the first thing is self-contradiction. Yeah?
Open the original.
They'll obviously use feeble attempts at distraction. What you'll see is they'll give you word salad, won't they? Which will sound good. Like I said, they'll use the terms inertial reference frame in a long bit of word salad, but listen to it carefully, because there won't be anything. I mean, fundamentally, you ain't going to formulate this within scientific method anyway, but there is logic in terms of what you can say you're seeing. That's the first way, is to take it away from science, unless they are going to start altering Earth spin and stuff.
Yeah.
But the point I was alluding to,
It's
really,
boring from
when
here on
Betty
too.
was talking, was the...
Yeah, I know, just scanning.
Yeah, it's pretty boring, I think. That was, of course, the world-renowned Adam Meakin. Describes himself as a pharmacist, I believe, which is just another word for a drug dealer.
I think he does actually, or certainly did work in a chemist, a pharmacy.
Yeah.
But whoop-de-doo.
I know some pretty good auto mechanics too. Yeah. They don't necessarily know anything about Coriolis. Oh no.
Oh, just teasing Farmer Blue.
Oh, gosh, teeth.
There's something special up there this time. Look, he's got half the board covered up.
Oh, I need to talk with my colleague who's going on maternity leave on Friday. So yeah, sorry. Ivana, please, cool. Come on.
No, I thought we'd just do a few debates for tonight. So I've still got the Ken one. Or a bit of Fight the Flat Earths. Who did he have? I don't know who the person was for that one. And MC Toon did a debate with Keith, Ivan, Mitchell. So that's your three. The other three I've got here. I don't know which one would be. I thought the planar walk one might be different because we haven't had anything like that for a while.
Yeah, the FTFE one. I think that was the one I watched this morning over breakfast. No.
Yeah, planar walk because I don't like Mr. Shouty.
Yeah.
He was getting very shouty.
Okay, I'll just dive right into it, because I didn't actually watch all of this. I watched a little bit of it. I don't know whether to start from the beginning and then jump. Might be better, and then we'll do a jump.
Debaters a little bit, break the ice. And Nick, since it's your first time on the channel debating here on the platform, I do appreciate you being willing to engage in this important topic. Why don't we start with you? A little bit about you, a little bit about your channel.
Okay, well, I'm Planar Walk. I should probably start with a hoi hoi. I'm Planar Walk because that's usually how I start. And I make videos usually about different types of pseudoscience, a lot about flat Earth because I think we can all agree that flat Earth is quite silly. So, but yeah, just all kinds of different things that I think are silly or pseudoscientific, and I look at the evidence and all that kind of stuff.
All right. Well, I appreciate that introduction there, Planar Walk. I've got your YouTube channel link in the description box. So for anybody in the chat, if you like what you're hearing from Planar Walk, check that out. Dr. Dino, good to see you. How you doing? A little bit about yourself, a little bit about Dell.
Well, thank you, sir. I'm Ken Hovind in Lenox, Alabama, a little bitty town straight north of Pensacola. I've been a Baptist preacher 48 years. I taught science 15 years in high school. I defend the position that the Bible is literally true. I would agree with Nick 100%. The earth is round. It is not flat. Only Kansas is flat. The rest of it's round. I think that is pseudoscience. I think it's also pseudoscience to believe in evolution. I'm excited. If he wants pseudoscience, by the time we're done today, he'll be producing videos against the dumb religion of evolution. That'll be great. All right.
We'll have to see that.
All right, Kent, appreciate the... Should be a good one. Appreciate the introduction, Kent, and Planar Walk. So for the audience sake, what we are going to be doing is more of a free-flowing kind of back and forth debate. We're going to have short opening statements introducing the topic, introducing a point or two for the debaters, Kent and Nick, to discuss. And of course, we are going to be starting with Planar Walk with that. And as usual, we're going to have an audience Q&A at the end of the debate. So make sure that you're tagging me with your questions. Tag me at Standing for Truth, and that way I won't miss them. Okay, let's get right into it. Planar Walk, we're going to hand it over to you. If you have any slides, anything like that, of course, I can share screen. And whenever you're ready, the floor is yours.
Okay, so I do have a few things to show, but first I have a few questions that I'm going to be asking Kent. So for this debate, I want to focus on evolution, macroevolution. Now, I'm not a big fan of the term macroevolution, but we'll use it just for the purposes of this debate. The first question that I want to know is what genetic mechanisms are there to prevent macroevolution from occurring over a long time frame? We all agree that microevolution can occur. You know, small changes that may not change things too much. But is there any genetic reason why macroevolution shouldn't occur? That's my first question. And the second question is what environmental mechanisms might prevent macroevolution from occurring. So there's plenty of different environmental evolutions that actually environmental mechanisms that can actually facilitate macroevolution. Things like when two species get separated, you'll often see them change in very different ways. There's also there's I forgot half of them from my school, but that's one of the main ones that I can remember. If I can share my screen now.
Now, is that a question or two that you wanted Kent to address and engage now, Planner Walk, or is that kind of for later to address after your presentation here?
I will address those after the presentation because Kent has will have a bit to respond, right?
Yeah, no worries.
So if I can just share screen and hold on, give me a few seconds. Okay. So
looks good.
So when it comes to one of the things that I want to talk about isochron dating. Because isochron dating is a very good way for measuring the age of rocks. Isochron dating, for different types of dating, you've got argon dating, you've got... I forgot all the different ones. But isochron dating uses different dating methods, and you want to look at the isotopes in a particular rock. Now, if there has been contamination of the isotopes, or if there's been contamination of the rock, then you should see the isotopes not lining up. However, if the rock is just as it is from the ground, without any contamination, then the isotopes should all line up. This is ratios of different isotopes in the rock. This is what this shows. And this is far better because you can tell, okay, has there been contamination? Has this particular element leaked out of the rock or something? We do this with carbon dating to an extent as well. If we want to see, okay, because there has been an unusual amount of carbon in the atmosphere lately, how much carbon in this rock is due to that, and has it been contaminated by the higher levels of carbon? We can look at carbon 13, I think it is, see how much of that is in a carbon life form to determine whether it's recent or a long time ago. We look at the ratios of all these things. If the ratios line up, we can tell that it hasn't been affected by contamination. Another thing that I want to look at is chromosome 2. So chromosome 2, we find that there is on most chromosomes there are two sets of telomeres and one centromere. On chromosome 2, however, there is a hidden telomere there that we can find, as well as a hidden centromere. I forget the correct name for it, but there's these things that show that these have been fused. These two chromosomes have been fused. And we can look at some other of the great apes and see that they have two separate chromosomes where we would expect to find chromosome 2. And this is good evidence for us having a common ancestor with other apes. Another thing that I want to look at is ERVs, endogenous retroviruses. These are something that we've got heaps of ERVs, but there are particular ERVs that are in the same ERV in the same spot between humans, chimps, gorillas, orangutans, etc. And if this happening by random chance, two different species getting the same ERV by random chance is astronomical. I think it's 1 in 50 million of the same ERV being in the same place. And yeah, so that's all I...
Sure. Looks good. Planner walk, dating methods, specifically isochron, chromosome 2 fusion, endogenous retroviruses, and a couple questions relating to micro and macroevolution. So a few topics there to for us to engage. Before we do so, we'll give Kent equal time. That was about 6 minutes. So Kent, we'll hand it over to you. 6 minutes. Floor is yours.
Right. That's why I thought we agreed on one topic at a time. We already have 3 on the table. I can't answer all 3 in 6 minutes. I much prefer a whole debate be on one topic. I think the reason he chose the carbon-14 or the dating methods first is because he probably knows full well, without billions of years, his whole theory collapses. It doesn't matter what changes we see in animals or plants. If you don't have billions of years, they cannot add up to what he needs of everything being related to a common ancestor. So that's where the issue of the age of the earth is absolutely critical to the atheist. They have to have billions of years. And if you take that away, it's just like taking a pacifier out of the mouth of a baby. They holler and scream. They've got to have that pacifier because in their mind, time solves everything. Truth of the matter is time makes it worse. The longer you wait, the more things decay, things wind down. The earth slows down in its spin, the moon recedes from the earth, the oceans fill in with salt. There are thousands of indicators the earth cannot be billions of years old, but they need billions of years to make it look good. Radiometric dating is used on certain types of rocks. I cover this in great detail on my video number 7. In my series, you can get $50 the whole thing. It's Q&A, questions and answers. It's actually 5 hours long, 2 different DVDs, just covering these type of questions. Igneous rock, metamorphic rock, sedimentary rock. I taught earth science 15 years. I love studying rocks. I live in a gravel pit. We got all kinds of them here. So there's all different types of rocks. In 1830, a guy named Charles Lyell said all these rock layers are different ages. Stop right there. There's where the mistake came in. They say the top layer is younger. Stop. How can it be younger? Where's it coming from? This whole geologic column that they rely on does not exist anywhere in the world except in the textbook. It's pure imagination. There is no geologic column. There is no Jurassic age. There is no Triassic, Mississippian, Devonian, Silurian. It's all baloney. Every time people come, we flip this thing over. It'll form 10 or 15 or 20 different layers in minutes. Is the top layer younger? No. So, Nick, you've been taught something that is absolutely baloney. There is no geologic column. None of the layers are different ages than any other layers. And if a rock is blown out of a volcano through becoming magma or igneous rock, it lands on top, it's still the same age. It was the same material recycled. It doesn't change it. If I shuffle a deck of cards, that doesn't make the top card younger. But you guys are stuck with this idea that the geologic column, invented in 1830, is science, and it's not. So potassium argon dating, rubidium, strontium, lead-208, lead-206, all the dating methods, carbon-13, carbon-14, are based on some really wild assumptions. In the 1950s, they developed carbon dating. And Willard Libby did this. 1946, Willard Libby said, I think we can check and see the age based upon the isotopes of radiocarbon, carbon-13, carbon-12, carbon-14, etc. So they tried to make this. The accepted ages for the rock layers was set back in 1830. Then 120 years later, they try to carbon date them. And if your carbon date doesn't match the accepted date, it'll be rejected because the accepted date was already accepted. And this is where the problem comes in. Carbon dating, conclusion. The underlying assumptions should be that fully half of the dates are rejected. Why don't they accept half of the dates they get from carbon dating? They don't match the geologic column. And the geologic column doesn't exist anywhere. It's imagination. So they start off with a lie that the layers are different ages, and now any dates that you get have to match this stupid column. Radiometric dating would not have been feasible if the geologic column had not been erected first. They've known this for 40 years, okay? Ever since William Smith, fossils have been and still are the best and most accurate method of dating and correlating the rocks. How do you tell the age of the rock? By the fossils, not by carbon dating. Apart from very modern examples, which really are archaeology, I can think of no cases of radioactive decay being used to date fossils. This was 40 years ago. Nothing's changed. There are 38 elements that are radioactive, and you can study this the rest of your life. Okay, there's uranium-238, uranium-235, rubidium, strontium, lead, etc. These things are radioactive. They decay into something else. I agree. I understand. All right? So carbon is one of them. Potassium-40 decays to argon-40 at a certain known rate. About half of it would decay at a certain rate, we think. Assuming no contamination, assuming the rates remain the same, assuming there's been no other outside forces to change this, and assuming none of the daughter element was already in the rock but the creation of it. I think that's a far stretch. Carbon-14 decays to nitrogen-14 in 5,730 years. Okay. This is used to date previously living things. So carbon dating only works on things that used to be alive. Okay. Earth's atmosphere is about 300 miles thick, but only 10 miles contains nearly all of it. Okay. Most of Earth's atmosphere is within 10 miles. Our atmosphere contains mostly nitrogen, 21% oxygen, and a little tiny bit of carbon dioxide. Three naturally occurring isotopes of carbon on Earth. Carbon-12 is 99% of all the carbon. Carbon-13, which is 1%. Carbon-14 occurs in trace amounts, making up 1 atom per 10 to the 12th atoms. So 1 atom out of 1 times 10 to the 1.5 times 10 to the 12th is 0.000000, very little radioactive carbon-14. And that's what they're trying to determine the age of objects with, carbon-14. Guys, you can barely find it and measure it. Earth's atmosphere is mostly nitrogen, carbon dioxide, 0.000765%. A little tiny bit of that is radioactive carbon. It mixes with the other gases in the normal atmospheric movement, and that gets absorbed by plants. Plants breathe it in. I could take the whole debate just on carbon. Nick, you brought up 3 topics. My time's up. Which one would you like me to answer? Go ahead.
Okay.
Okay, just 1 second. Let me. 6 minutes really does fly by. So I got questions flying in, and I am saving them. So I appreciate the questions coming in for an.
Oh.
Makes a lot of assertions, but not much evidential evidence.
Well, it's very easy to make statements, yeah.
Yeah.
This, that, and the other. Well, go on then, back it up.
All the rocks are the same age and everything. Yeah. Okay.
Well, one analogy you used, Terry, was that you take a card out of the deck and you put it on top. That doesn't make it the youngest card. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
The card that you just put down on the top is the most recent card you put down. Duh! Yep. What an idiot.
Well, yeah, but we know that anyway. He's an idiot.
Yeah.
We'll do a big jump. If I can work out where he's talking, that's plain to walk there. They're going back and forward at the moment by the look of it. Okay.
And that's the exact same thing that I do with the fossils. I look at them and go, okay, well, these fossils, if we can look and see that there are slight changes, right? And we know that slight changes happen through genetics. So can't there be a slight change from Lucy over successive generations to humans?
Well, first of all, Nick, you do not see any changes in the fossils. You arrange them in an order that you want them to be in. I could put a bicycle which has 2 wheels, and then a tricycle which has 3, and then a car which has 4. It went from 2 to 3 to 4. Is that proof of anything? No, I arranged them that way. There are animals like chimpanzees that are fossilized. There are animals like gorillas that are fossilized. You might find a bigger chimpanzee or smaller chimpanzee. You don't know there's any connection. You don't know they had any children at all. My point is, 2 points. Fossils that are found fully articulated. I mean, today when an animal dies, it gets dragged all over the woods by the buzzards and the coyotes and the ants and the seagulls, and everything drags it all over. So they're not articulated like they are in the fossil record, in the fossil form. In the dirt, we find lots of fossils fully articulated, and I think it's indication of rapid burial, quickly. And you don't know that they're connected to anything else. There's a lot of animals alive today in the world. Why don't we see them produce something? Chimpanzees are still having babies. Don't show me the bones from the dirt. Go to the zoo, to ask the zoo director which of these chimpanzees has a baby that is becoming non-chimpanzee. I'd like to see that.
Wow.
Oh,
It doesn't
Oh my
happen.
God! What an
It's imagination.
Yeah, that
Of course it doesn't happen. We don't expect it to happen.
no. It takes millions. It took tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of years, millions of years.
it's taken us millions of years to get to where we are now, and then somehow we produce this blip in the evolutionary, ladder.
Yeah, what are you
Mr.
going to be like in
Hogan.
another million years, Farmer?
Me? Nothing.
He's going to be a fossil.
It depends what they do with me when I die, whether they bury me or cremate me, and who knows? I don't care. I'll be dead. I mean, that is just the mother and father of all straw man arguments. I mean, that's just...
Yeah.
I think we see it today, but don't we continue to produce better and better idiots?
yeah, we do.
Evolution works.
In general terms, you can see how humans have evolved over, say, the last 1,000 years. You can see how we've, for one thing, we've all got taller.
Yeah.
That's a known fact. Humans have over the years tended to get taller.
And de-evolved with the introduction of equipment like P900s.
I mean, the whole sort of longevity thing, that's not really evolution. That's more the way our lifestyles have changed over, say, the last 1,000 years. But yeah, we all tend to be taller than our ancestors.
Well, we used
and that's
to have
evolution.
We used to have a lot more babies back then too, and as mortality rates decrease with medicine introduction.
Yep.
We're living longer, and the babies are surviving, but then we're having less babies, but they're surviving more. So there's differences there too.
Yeah, and when he says, "Oh, all these fossils, all we find fully articulated skeletons," no. We very rarely in fossils find a fully articulated skeleton, and when we do, it's a rare thing. I mean, a lot of these fossils. So you go back and look at the dinosaurs, saying, "Oh, we've discovered a new dinosaur."
Yeah, but
they haven't actually just dug up an entire fossil skeleton. They found a skull or a hip bone or something, and they know that comparing it to the others, well, it's of this type, but it's not quite the same. So is it slightly different? But it's of this family, it's of this genus. We found a new Tyrannosaurid, because they all tend to have the same features, but they don't find. I mean, it's certainly in paleontology, when they class something as a full skeleton, it's not. I think it's a certain percentage, but there's enough to say, this is what it looked like,
Isn't there a case of where they depicted a fossil, but they put things together that what they thought it looked like, and then later on that they had to retract that?
Several
or something?
cases.
Yeah, in the very early days, what was it? Was it Mantle who discovered the iguanodon, and he thought it had got a spike on its nose. Turns out that was one of the thumbs. He had it as just another quadruped walking on four legs. So no, actually, although that particular dinosaur, it could walk on four legs, it tended to work on just the hind legs. But yeah, he'd recreated it, and he'd got this big spike on its nose. No, that particular dinosaur had two spiky thumbs.
And the other thing is when they are fossilized and they don't know what skin it had, or had fur, or what type of skin it had. Even that's something that they've readdressed.
Back then they weren't discovering these things, but as time has gone on and they are now making new discoveries, they are finding fossils of dinosaurs that had feathers. They are finding imprints of skin. But this is like a 1 in a million thing that they're finding every now and then. I mean, the chances of finding a decent fossil in the first place are fairly slim. So anything we do find is a real gift. and you get idiots like this who are going, oh no, all the fossils are they're fully formed skeletons, and that obviously happened very quickly. Just garbage.
Imagination.
When it comes to
And I'm not. Go ahead.
when it comes to evolution, it's slight change. Like, you're never going to get something that is, like, I agree with you that, a human isn't going to give birth to a banana. I agree with you, because the theory of evolution does not say that would happen. What it says is that over successive generations, there are very slight changes. Where one species is completely different, very hard to tell. But like, if you had a child, let's say they had, shorter arms, right? Then that child had another child with shorter arms, another child with shorter arms, right? And then that child had a child that had their tailbone extruding out a bit more, and then that child had their tailbone was extruding out a bit more, and then let's say that the tail divided in two, so you had two tails. Like, that would be something that would be very different to what it initially came from. And if it happened over a long time, then we can go, okay, well, is it really a human? I mean, it did come from...
Isn't that where, like with hair colour? We've got all different hair colours, because you look at different, you look at the Japanese and Chinese people, they've all got dark, all dark coloured hair. And
they don't tend to have blondes, do they?
No. And they are mainly intermixed with their own selves. Okay, we'll leave that there now. I think we get the gist of what Ken Hoven's like anyway. Stop.
Yeah, I mean, when your argument is the Bible is literally true, then you shot yourself in the foot before you started.
Yeah, the world's only 3,000 years old,
and yet we have clear evidence of civilizations predating the so-called, start of it all by thousands of years.
So I wonder how
not just, and if you go back even further, we've got evidence of mankind making tools and things that go back hundreds of thousands of years, if not. In fact, I think some of the oldest Stone Age implements they've found are millions of years old.
Mm-hmm. I wonder what Ken's answer to oil and things like that is, things that have taken millions of years to develop.
Yeah.
And sand on the
God made
beach,
it like
all the crustaceans that.
God did it.
Oh, did he? Oh, okay.
I don't know, but that's the usual answer. When pushed into a corner and haven't got any sort of even halfway valid reason for something. Oh, well, God did it.
While we're talking about debates that went off last night, I think Blue would have been having competition fits at MC Toon's first one. A guy who doesn't understand anything about the principles of flight.
Oh, not another one of them. Oh, no.
Which debate was that one, Alan?
That was the first one.
Keith Ivan Mitchell, is it?
No, the other one.
I don't think I grabbed the other one. No, that's the only one I grabbed.
Kicked off at 2:00 our time this morning.
Was that a revisited one? FE debate versus Archimedes.
Archimedes, that's the one.
Not. Oh, hang on. Here come the bin men.
Apparently, he's a chemist.
Okay, well, I do see a little bit of that there. I can play that a little bit.
So MC2 kept throwing maths at him. This is the Haversine. He kept expecting him to be able to handle the Haversine formula, especially after he said he'd done navigation class for his pilot's license.
Okay, there's a good little section there we can play, and then that'll be it.
Clive says he's a chemical engineer.
Is that the same way as my mother once described herself on the form as a domestic engineer? Because it sounded better than housewife.
Quite possibly. Yes, Clive, the chemical engineer that didn't understand basic mathematics.
I don't think I watched.
Yeah, all the chemical engineers I ever worked with had a very good grasp of math.
Oh, PhD candidate as well.
Chemicals. How much of this goes into that? I don't know. That much.
TT guys out there, how's your voice at the moment, TT? Any better?
You say the word mechanic, don't you mean parts interpreter?
Well, I'm a spare part. I'm a qualified spare part interpreter. I've got a.
These days, they're not generally mechanics; they're technicians.
Yeah, automotive technician. Yeah. That's it.
Oh, we'll just swap this part with a new one. Yeah, but why doesn't it work?
We don't know. But that's what my diagnostic tool said when I plugged it in.
That really gets my back up. Yeah, but what's actually causing the problem? I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, I'm paying you. Look, I'll give it back here. I'll do it my bloody self. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. With the adoption of large amounts of printed circuit boards with lots of conformal coatings to prevent getting buggered up, the trade that I had been in the RAF was severely downgraded in technical training because they no longer needed to be able to do fault finding to component level on the boards because you couldn't do anything with the board anyway because you couldn't remove a component from it because of all the stuff it was embedded in to keep it safe.
Oh, I'll get a little bit of this one. If he goes into flight mechanics, that'll be interesting. I can hear Blue saying no straight away. I haven't even played it yet.
Ooh.
No.
the mountains. That is where the tangent point comes out from that angle that they're measuring. It's very slight, but the book does address it, and I know I wouldn't expect that you have done that. You still get the point being not the specific numbers, but that everywhere you go, there is spherical excess. So go ahead.
Okay. Well, I still think we haven't really resolved the fact that we could have a shape of the Earth and world that is somewhat rotund, but just geocentric as well. So I'm not making any claims, but I just think that it's not completely descriptive of the entire world. I mean, we're talking about our continent, which I already know, we go from sea level to high, thousands of feet, right? So in the center. So, okay, we'll leave that.
Well, one more thing, one more topic to address. You complained that it was an ancient book. It's 122 years old, so it's kind of old. I use that on purpose because it predates NASA. And flat earthers hate NASA. It long predates NASA. It predates most of the people being born that were involved in NASA.
I wish we could just page through that and give the people an idea that it looked ancient because of the print. It was not it was not a good copy of that. It was hard to even read a lot of the words that were small in the graphs and in the tables. It was really bad kind of thing. I would just say, hey, maybe blow it up and type out, retype what those are.
You can zoom in with a good PDF viewer. But on the other hand, and don't get me wrong on this, you referenced a book over 2,000 years old, or around 2,000 years old, for the newest writings. And probably the writings that you would want to refer to are much older than 2,000 years old. I have no problem with the Bible myself, but I don't think that you have a position criticizing the 122-year-old book that I produced that actually has measurements being ancient, when the other one that you're referring to is significantly older.
Age has I don't care about the age. That's no problem. It's just the quality of
age, though.
Well, I did. I said it was a very old book. It was a very old appearance of the print that was in it, is what I was getting at. I don't care how old it could be. 10 times. I love the classics, man. Archimedes, baby. I love classics, man. Right. I love old stuff, but I want to be able to read it. No problem. That was just that's just commentary.
All right.
I got another one.
Yep.
Okay, so we are ready to move on to our second points.
All right. Let me try to air square.
Archimedes, when you are ready, your time will begin.
Okay. I'm going to do a slideshow. That's right. Okay. The title of this one is Plane on a Tangent Problem. Or you can't walk to school uphill both ways on the same path, that is, showing the untenable position of a declining horizon. If you take an aircraft and you fly out in a tangent plane to the Earth, and you use neutral trim controls, it's said to be above the Earth at a certain distance out due to the horizon descending. The horizon is going to go away. And when the problem is, when this aircraft flies back on the same plane, you have an untenable dilemma existing where the aircraft either achieves a higher elevation as the horizon descends yet again in the reverse, because the horizon always descends as you're, coming across, and that pushes the Earth downward as it flies back and forth in the same plane.
What the hell is he talking about?
What did he just say?
Stuff that didn't make sense.
I mean, I'll grant you, they're words.
There's something about a plane taking off on a tangent, flying with neutral trim, and turning around and flying back.
Okay, well, it won't stay on a tangent plane. I'm sorry.
No.
I don't think he's a pilot, do you?
Airplanes don't do that.
No, he's not a pilot.
He's not a pilot. Okay.
Well, it certainly doesn't sound like it.
He certainly doesn't understand the principles of flight.
Yeah. Even with that, I couldn't even work out what he meant, what he was trying to explain.
Which is totally ridiculous.
Back.
Or, while retracing its path in the plane, you'll say that the Earth rises to meet the aircraft, which is contrary to what it said about the horizon descending. Okay, so as you're going straight. So the background on this is airplane trim. This is on the roof of one of the planes that I train in, and it says, neutral there. This is the elevator. It's old style. There's newer ones, new mechanisms and digital controls and so forth. But this gives you the idea that you can set a neutral trim and fly in a real plane, a real physical plane, by getting the proper trim. Now, a pilot can set the neutral trim. It flies in a tangent plane, or level. I'll use the word level. I hate to do that, but over a perfectly flat surface.
So this is fine tuning for the nose pitch. It can be accomplished very easily.
Would you like to have a word with this guy at all, Blue?
I don't think I would, but because it probably wouldn't end well. But I can't really see. I can't really see that picture. What the hell is he pointing at?
Yeah, I can't see what it is
that?
either. I can't make it any bigger.
Apparently, it's the lever to operate the trim tab on an elevator trim tab on a Cessna 152 or something similar.
No, it is not.
Okay.
Trim wheels don't look like that.
Yeah.
I've never seen a thing like that. That's anything but a typical trim control for an elevator.
I can't really make it any
Elevator
bigger.
trim controls are wheels. Even in large aircraft, you see that big wheel next to the pilot's knee that keeps rotating all by itself sometimes. That's the elevator trim control. That's the trim wheel.
It looks like a door handle, basically.
I don't know what the
Easily
hell
and
he's
precisely
pointing
with modern controls. Now, if we need to, we could say, hey, this is a way we can experimentally determine where the setting needs to be to make sure that I do fly in a level straight plane over a flat surface. I can fly a distance over the salt flats of Utah between.
Oh,
wouldn't you be more saying it to fly at an equal altitude or an equal?
Yeah, that's right. And that's what you're doing. You're flying. You're not flying at a level on a plane, as he's stating. He's wrong from the beginning. You're flying at if you trim the airplane for level flight, you're just maintaining a constant altitude.
Yeah.
That actually is not a plane. That's a curved path.
Yeah. Blue, could that be his flap control rather than the elevator control? Tim.
I don't recognize it in any aircraft I've ever been in. I've never seen that. I don't know what he's looking at.
Might have to do a bit of a trim, cut and snip of it and see if we can blow it up.
I have.
No good?
It's not very clear.
What's it say in the little words next to it with the arrow?
Immediately to the left of that, where you've got sort of arrows going left and right, that's labelled as nose. And the one to the left of that, the resolution's not good enough. I can't make out what it is, but it's got some sort of graduated scale on it. But the other one that says nose, and it's got, I think the arrows pointing left and right, but I have no idea. I mean, for him to label that as a typical elevator trim control, I'm no pilot, but the amount of cockpits I've seen, no.
Between two landmarks, using an altimeter to ensure that the starting point and the ending point of those two landmarks are at the same altitude, but just periodically adjusting for neutral position. And you just physically or digitally mark those neutral settings, noting the margin of error and so forth. The actual altitude doesn't matter. We just want to make sure that we know the setting to go tangent to the Earth at a point. All right. So this is my geometric proof for refutal of globe Earth. It's indirect, so we're going to accept the premise of the globe Earth and then show how it's an untenable position. All right. Here is a figure of the Earth, a point P on a tangent plane. My premise here is that there exists a tangent plane to the Earth at any given point P, such that over a sufficiently long distance, we will say, from that point, the surface of the Earth descends in all directions away from that tangent plane. And we're going to say the assumption here is that you go 5,000 kilometers, that's sufficiently long to validate this premise. How, obviously it should be, it's at least 1/8 away around, or close to 1/8 away around the world. And we're also going to say our reference path is over water. And we're going to prove that the globe model is not coherent with geometry and understanding of flight controls and so forth. So my first statement is that I'm just going to use the premise and say there exists this tangent plane, and if I go from P to Q, this arc is greater than or equal to 5,000 kilometers. You can't say that, my idea is to say we're going to use 5,000, and so to be very clear, no local undulations or whatever is going to affect this. All right. Now, because a plane cannot fly at a tangent over the horizon because it'll get hung up on small rocks and tall grass and so forth, we also say here in the statement there exists a plane above that is further from the Earth's surface and parallel to the tangent plane, from which the Earth likewise descends. Okay, that's the definition of a parallel plane. The plane, that airplane is in that, aircraft is in that. Now I'm defining some points here.
All
using
right.
that parallel plane.
Time. That is your time.
Okay.
That was his time.
All right. Can I keep going, Mike?
If you want to take 10 seconds to wrap up your point, please.
Do more. Let him do more.
Okay.
Let him do more.
Yeah, because he hadn't actually got to his point, had he?
Basically,
No.
we're going
About
to
so
see
much.
that at higher altitudes, the plane is above this point QT, and it's lower there. But if I turn the plane around and go back, which is physically possible to do, I can definitely be on that plane.
I was going to
no
say I could
question
hear
about
Blue
it.
grumbling,
I
but
go
he's
to
muted.
point
Oh, he might be
O. Now, I
grumbling
either
while
have
he's
two
muted.
choices.
Probably why he's muted.
The Earth is going to rise to meet me, which is contrary to our understanding and thought, or it's going to constantly descend, which I'm going to be pushing the Earth down just by flying back and forth. That does not happen. So this is unsatisfactory. Now, another major problem here is the nose pitch above QT. If
I can't
do
work
go
out
like
what
this
he's-
and I'm at Q and I look up, that plane is climbing when it has never manipulated the
Wow.
elevator controls, which is completely absurd. You have to.
It's the same same bullshit you hear out of all of them.
Yeah.
Oh, if the nose is up, it'll be climbing. It can't climb all that time.
So it'll fly out into outer space. That's what they reckon.
Oh, don't.
If it's a sphere, yeah.
It's what you would be doing. Fortunately, the gravity vector moves as you travel.
Yep.
Which is what the aircraft is referenced to. Its pitch, its angle of attack, all being set by the way you trim the airplane. And that's all a function of the direction of gravity.
And you set your altimeter to what ceiling height you want to fly at.
Well, not really. You just set your you trim the airplane to be hands off at a particular altitude, and it stays there.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's actually physically how you do it.
Yeah.
Really quite simple.
So if you aimed at a star at night time, and if you flew towards that star, you'd just end up in outer space, wouldn't you?
If you could do that, yeah. I think you would.
I'll get him to do that then. Say, hey mate.
Well, if you're in the next 15 and you've lit the fuse,
yeah,
you could actually do it in the next 15. Because at some point it ceases to be an aircraft and just becomes a rocket.
Rocket, yeah.
And that's why it had attitude control thrusters, as shown in the movie when Neil Armstrong bounces off the atmosphere.
Yes, yes. Gee,
he had no aerodynamic effect at all.
He had nothing. He was just a rock.
He thought he was coming back down, and then he started to climb. And of course, you can hear old mission control going, "Neil, you're climbing," and it's like, yeah, I know. Just give me a moment here, please, whilst I panic.
And if he didn't do what he did, he would have just ended up in orbit.
Well, possibly, yes. That is the problem when you skip off the atmosphere. That yeah, if he'd skipped enough, he would have just kept going up, and whether he would actually have achieved orbit or not is a different matter. But
you know, he couldn't do that. He didn't have the velocity.
No, but it would have put him in all sorts of trouble. But fortunately, you know, him being a a test pilot and everything else. His training just kicked in, and they had designed it with reaction control systems so that you've got little jets, little rockets to take over, because now your control surfaces don't work. So it did in effect become a spacecraft, and he had to nudge himself back down that way until you get back down into thick enough atmosphere where the wings start working as wings again, and your control surfaces actually have something to bite against.
Was he the first to reach that altitude?
I don't know, because they did do many flights. He might have been, but I couldn't say for certain without researching it.
So he would have definitely passed the Kármán line, wouldn't he?
No,
Yeah,
he wasn't. He wasn't high enough to hit the Kármán line.
But if he's gone past the point where
lift the plane,
lifting body flight is no longer possible.
I'm fairly certain he wasn't that high, but there's certainly he was. Yeah, he did lose aerodynamic lift, but I don't think he was anywhere near as high as the Kármán line, which it's a fairly arbitrary figure, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Kármán's intention was to define an altitude where aircraft don't work anymore.
Yeah.
You're ballistic.
But I think he'd already got to that point way before he got to the Kármán line. But I'd have to go back and have a look at it. I'm fairly certain he wasn't that high, but he was high enough that, yeah, it.
Well, yeah, it's related to speed too.
Because he was knocking on some, wasn't he?
Yeah, but
Mach 5 or 6 or something stupid like that.
Yeah, the Kármán line is literally defined as the point where, regardless of how fast you're going, you can't achieve aerodynamic lift any longer. Now, if Neil would have been able to crank that thing up to 12,000 miles an hour or something, he might have had control authority again.
Now,
I'm just trying to see. I mean, Armstrong did hold the record for a while for speed. Flight number 64, 26th July 1962. He hit Mach 5.24, 3,989 miles an hour, and he was only 19 miles up. That's 30.7 kilometers. I mean, that's nothing. Yeah, you're nowhere near the Kármán line.
Plane cannot fly at a tangent over the horizon because it'll get hung up on small rocks and tall grass. The airplane.
I'll go back too far today.
If I do go like this and I'm at Q and I look up, that plane is climbing when it has never manipulated the elevator controls, which is completely absurd. You have to manipulate controls to be able to rise and pitch. Okay?
All right.
So therefore, the descending horizon has been refuted. Fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Okay? Can't walk both ways uphill.
All right.
And I will stop the share.
Get him, Toon.
Mr. Toon, when you are ready for your rebuttal.
Let me set this up. Share screen. All right. Well, the nice thing about talking to an engineer is I can go for math, and they're not going to glaze over. Most flat earthers can't do math. All right. So this is a somewhat simplified diagram of a plane in flight, but there are four forces that mainly at play when you're flying. You got thrust and drag, not a big part of this particular one. Now we've got lift and the downward weight. The downward weight you can see on this is the angle straight down, and you can see the lift is up, but it's not exactly up. It sets a slight angle up. A lot of the diagrams show it to be exactly up, but it's not quite. We can take that and then, let me show you this here before we get to that part. This is the formula for lift, the lift formula. It is the absolute pressure on the top there divided by the specific gas constant and the absolute temperature. The pressure then you need to get pressure is directly to that gives you density. That's not the lift formula, that's the density formula. Anyway, the point is that lift is directly proportional to pressure if you haven't changed anything else. If you leave the speed the same, the lift is dependent on pressure. Lower the pressure, lower the lift. So here we have your diagram, and I tip the plane up a little bit, and I put those two arrows in there. You've got the downward vector straight down on the left there, and then the left plane we have the upward arrow that is lift, slightly at an angle. If that plane were to go in an actual true straight line over the globe Earth, what would happen is the downward vector will now change, and it is no longer straight down. It is now tipped back from the perspective of the plane. Also, since the elevation has gone up, the air pressure is lower and the lift is lower. If you don't make any other changes, you'll stall. But changes will happen automatically because the plane, as shown here, you have that little CG, the center of gravity. It will pivot on that. As the downward vector changes, it pivots on that center of gravity. So rather than this happening, if you make no changes, this is what happens. The plane will automatically pivot on the center of gravity due to the downward vector changing its angle. So if you go just 70 miles, it changes in deflection of the downward vector by only 1 degree. It's not much over 70 miles. You go 140 miles, you get another degree. But they compound, or sorry, they don't compound, because by the time you finish your first 70 miles, it has pivoted already. Now, there's lots of small fluctuations that happen when you fly. Air turbulence and wind buffeting and all sorts of things like that cause it to change around, and those you feel, which is significantly more than the amount that you feel due to the curvature of the Earth, because it's only 1 degree over 70 miles. It's not a huge amount on the distance you fly. So your diagram where it keeps going, that's not how it works on a globe. That might be how it would work on flat Earth. But in the end, all you've done is shown that you didn't quite understand, I think, the flight dynamics. And you definitely will have trouble trying to get your multi-engine license if you continue with that particular belief, I think. So good luck on that. That's all I have.
You'll have a hard time. You'll have a hard time getting a license to fly a paper airplane if you keep up the way that guy's going. You're not going to fly any kind of airplane, period.
Certainly not an F6 Hellcat.
No.
All right, gentlemen. We'll start the back and forth. Give me 1 second. Archimedes, there you go. You should be able to.
Okay, so the change in pressure is going to occur as I continue to fly straight?
Yeah, if you actually did fly straight and somehow magically were able to show up 500 kilometers away from where you started in a straight line with the same amount of trim, the same amount of throttle, and the same position of the airplane relative to where it was before, you'd stall.
This is not a, we're not delving into the controls as much. The point is flying in that plane, okay? That plane is real, it exists. It's a tangent plane. And I can fly in that plane if I want to. Now, I will give you the fact that as you...
What?
Yeah,
what sort of plane? Yeah, what sort of plane is he flying?
Yeah, you could fly in that plane if you wanted to, but in order to do that, you would have to continue to increase the angle of attack because you are losing lift as you gain altitude. I'll give you the lift equation if you like, which McToon didn't have queued up, but it's the coefficient of lift times the density of the air times the square footage of the wing and times the square of the airspeed divided by 2. That's the lift equation. And quite clearly, if air density changes, lift changes with it proportionally. So if that airplane climbs 100 feet, it will have lost enough lift that it's now going to try to descend if you don't intercede and increase the angle of attack to give you more lift. And McToon is correct. At some points, you will just end up stalling the airplane. You'll reach the service ceiling, and that will be the end of that. That's what we call the coffin corner. Don't go there.
Climb in altitude, the pressure tends to go down, but there's lots of dynamics that could happen.
I think we're buffered.
Higher pressure.
1 second. I think we're buffered.
Oh yeah, hold on.
All right, give it 1 second because I want to make sure that we're getting everybody's argument. Just want to make sure we're not buffering anymore.
Do you know how much we discussed that was not buffered?
We'll take it back.
I'm still seeing buffering. Just a second here.
Yeah, we'll take it back to your point about the airplane just as soon as we can verify.
Wow, it is there. Oh,
It dumped pretty hard there for a second. So live chat, let me know if we're good.
all right.
I think we're okay.
I think I got it. Yeah, I canceled something that might have kicked off a download. There we go.
Well, that wouldn't help.
All right, let me have a thumbs up in the side chat
No.
if everybody's good. I think we're okay to continue. Give me just 1 second to verify, make sure everybody's caught up with us, and then we'll go back to your point on the airplane.
Hey, let me know.
All right, we are good to go. Archimedes, if you'll start again. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mike, this does not have to be an indictment of the controls keeping us in a plane. The point is, are we on this tangent plane, which we can be? It is a real plane. It's tangent to the Earth, so we're going to go parallel above it so we can fly. And, I'm going to, and I will give you the fact that you can experience many times a reduction in pressure as you gain altitude, but that doesn't. There's a lot of factors that go into that, and there's no telling what issue may be at play, the temperature, the humidities, and things like that, to know exactly what could happen with that. You'd have to make assumptions and do that.
Easy blue.
And do that math. So basically, if we stay in this plane,
Somebody hold his beer.
Yeah. Plane to the Earth. Okay. I'm not trying to climb. I'm trying to go out straight.
But you have to climb in order to stay in that plane.
If I do, what will happen is I'll manipulate the controls, but I won't climb. I will stay. I will continually pull back on the yoke, okay? But I'm actually going to stay straight in the plane.
But you also have to increase the throttle
Thrust.
because
Thrust.
the lift is going to go down because pressure is going to go down.
You pull back on the yoke and don't increase thrust, you're not going to go anywhere.
All right? So, and then
You'll alter the airspeed.
if you turn back around and go back to the same exact path, hey, the Earth's got to climb.
And you're going to decrease, but you're going to decrease in elevation as you go back the other direction. Right?
Okay, so we're, I'm trying to kind of convince you two here. This is also for the public and our listeners, and so I think I've made my case pretty well.
I don't think so.
All right. Well, yeah, I say that if you want to maintain on the globe, if you want to maintain that same straight path on the plane, the geometric plane, not the airplane, you will have to have to modify your controls. If you just set your trim and throttle and just leave it and fly level flight, it will maintain consistent elevation over the globe Earth.
But now at point QT, which is in the tangent
It
plane.
took me a while to say but. A bit of a delay there.
Yeah.
I'm at a different elevation. I'm at a different elevation, right?
Yeah, you would be.
I'm just going to turn around and I'm going to fly in a
Is this guy
parallel
supposed to be a
tangent
pilot?
point.
What's that, Blue?
Is this guy supposed to be a pilot? Does he claim to
I
be?
think he's going for his pilot's license of some sort, but I don't think
he's not going to get it.
No.
Do us a favor there, Hot Rod. We don't call it elevation. It's called altitude. Elevation is a measurement of the surface. Altitude is what we talk about, not in aircraft. We don't use the word elevation. Only when we're talking about a runway.
Yeah, sorry, please. I was going to say, elevation is what you want to avoid controlled flight into, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Like a mountain.
Why are those sheep on the top of the mountain looking down at us? Uh-oh.
To
TT
that,
says he claims to be a pilot in training.
Yeah.
and I'm going to push the
Oh,
Earth
so am I.
down.
Let me get one of these.
Because
if you,
now it's going to fall away.
But if you retake your original path, you will lose elevation as you go back to your original point Q.
God damn.
Well, that's contrary to what you say. We go straight and level flight, and you're saying that the ground is going to come to me. That's
level
contrary
flight.
to what.
Level flight is not straight. Level flight is curving with the curvature
I'm
of
not
the
saying
Earth.
level. I'm saying in the parallel plane.
Okay, but
that's
you
contrary
can't.
to what.
But you can't leave your trim and throttle consistent and stay in that level plane. There's not that level plane, that flat plane. You won't be able to maintain it. So you have to increase throttle and adjust your trim to maintain that heading, and it will increase your elevation as you go. And then if you turn around and you head back to point Q, you'll reduce your elevation on the way back. Or if you wanted then to reposition, turn around the other way and set your new point, which is a higher elevation than before, as your new point Q, call it Q prime, and then head on another plane, geometric plane, back to point QT prime, you'll again gain elevation. And when you get there, you will be at significantly more elevation than when you started with point Q.
He means
flying back and forth in a horizontal plane. I push the Earth down and I gain higher altitude. Let's move on to the next one. Let's go ahead and do the next one since it's getting kind of.
What? He can't go anywhere more with that one.
Mr. Toon, 5 minutes.
Hold on a second.
I think we might leave it there. You got anything for us, Paul?
Can you do some jazz?
Yeah,
jazz flute.
Well, we can see where this is going with this so-called wannabe pilot.
Yeah, I would be grateful if you'd stop that. Because every time these guys say elevation, that's just like fingernails on a blackboard to a pilot.
Yeah.
Don't say that. Jesus. Yeah.
You can understand Toon saying it. He doesn't claim to have much in the way of aviation knowledge.
Yeah, it's hard to do that sometimes when you're debating someone and they're using words that are not right. And then do you use their same words to try to re-explain something back to them? Or you try to correct them? Or that's the tricky part sometimes.
Every airplane I ever flew had a thing in it called an altimeter. I never had a single one that had an elevatometer or whatever.
An elevator.
Elevatometer.
I mean,
elevator is something totally different. Yeah.
You got elevators?
Yeah.
We call them lifts. Because they lift you up.
Yeah, they lift you up. Yeah. Or what do you call it when they go down?
Oh, it's a lift. Just that the lift's going down. We don't call it a drop.
It's an ant lift.
So like an ant arc.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
It's an and lift.
Mm.
Yeah, that worked. Oh, by the way, I just had a quick look. Neil Armstrong, his X-15 flight, he reached an altitude of 207,000 feet, which is 63 kilometers. And it's when he was coming back down, he held the nose of the X-15 up for too long because he was testing a new guidance system. And he bounced off the atmosphere at 140,000 feet. Nowhere near the Kármán line. But it's all to do with the conditions at the time, the speed he was going, and the attitude of the X-15 itself.
Yeah.
And he overshot Edwards by 40 miles. But he was still high. When he passed over Edwards, he was doing Mach 3 at 100,000 feet. And it's like, oh, that's where I want to be. He was going so fast and so high that by the time he'd overshot by 40 miles and he had time to drop, turn around and come back and sort of make it to the end of the runway. And he said it was the longest in both flight time and track across the ground.
Wow.
But yeah, he overshot by 40 miles because he was still too fast and too high.
Quiz time.
Oh boy.
Cup of coffee time.
It always starts so promisingly, doesn't it? And then it just
goes off the shit.
Well, sometimes.
I've even named it the medium quiz this time, not the hard quiz.
I wouldn't call them mediums.
You're so kind.
Oh dear.
I hate to see extra large.
No, you should be able. You should be able to do well this time.
When's the extra large quiz?
Yeah. All right, here we go. Okay. The use of these devices is sometimes described by the adjective isopycnic, which originally referred to surfaces of constant density inside a fluid. What devices are these?
A parts per million meter.
No.
I know. I just
Not
get
parts
saying
per
that.
million meter. Yeah.
Isopycnic. I've not heard of that one.
Okay.
A picnic. That's
One
when
of
you
these-
go out with your bread and you have a barbecue and sandwiches.
So is an isopycnic when you're on your own?
Yeah. One of these devices is used to find the packed cell volume of blood. Big Blue's got it. He knows what it is.
Oh, thanks, Blue.
Well,
Yeah.
given
thanks,
his-
Blue.
Oh, he's told everyone. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Blue.
All right. Oh.
He just didn't tell the peanuts yet.
No, I'm sorry. I fixed it.
But
It
the
better be
peanuts
right, Blue, or otherwise I'm booting you.
Yeah. It is right because the TT guy has it as well out in the peanuts.
Did I get
Just
it
in
right?
case you
Did
didn't
I
know.
get it right too, Paul?
You did, Terry.
What, after Terry told us?
Yeah.
After Blue. No, Blue.
Sorry, Blue told us, yeah.
The rest of your clues were the zip type of these devices is sometimes regulated by international treaties because it is used to enrich uranium. Yeah.
There we go.
And the basket type of these devices is used to process cane sugar and is good at separating liquids from solids.
Yeah,
These
that would have gave it
devices
away.
are named after a fictitious force. Yeah. That's because this force exists in a non-inertial reference frame, right? Yeah. Name these devices that separate mixtures according to the density by spinning quickly. They are centrifuges. Yes.
So unless you
That's a big
explain
That's
like
a big
that
one.
for a fictitious force in a non-inertial reference frame, this is the only ways I can understand things like this.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, question 2. One of these devices uses a combination of laser cooling and fountain design to achieve accuracy. What kind of device is this?
Laser cooling?
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
not heard of that one.
I know that sort of contradicts what a laser is.
Oh no, laser cooling's a real thing. I
Okay.
can tell you how it works.
Hurry up, Blue.
Okay. That device, which uses 6 lasers to cool molecules to a few millionths of a degree above absolute zero, is the NIST-F1 in Boulder, Colorado. What are these devices? Not Fender amps. Moonlight in the laser. Not quantum computers. No. More traditional varieties of these objects use balance wheels and resonators, such as quartz crystals. What kind of devices are these? Not a synchrotron. Hey, Alan's got it. Yeah, Farmer's Boy's got it.
Bugger.
And the TT guy's got it right twice out in the Peanuts. But the first answer was right, TT guy. The second answer is just a specific example of them, yeah. Though rubidium is cheaper, the most precise modern example of these devices use cesium. These objects traditionally used pendulums. Name these devices, the analogue types of which have a long hand that goes around every hour and a short hand that goes around every 12 hours. They are, of course, clocks. Yeah, laser cooling is a thing. What they do is they tune a laser to a frequency that's just above, or a wavelength that's just above the wavelength required for absorption by a molecule. And so if the molecule's moving in the same direction as the beam's aimed at, then it won't be absorbed. All right, but if it's moving in, it's either just above, no, it's just below. If the particle is moving against the light, then because of Doppler shift, the frequency that the particle sees changes, and it'll be absorbed. And as it gets absorbed, it absorbs the momentum of the photon, and it slows the particle down. But it, of course, only slows the particles down that are travelling against the laser beam. So by using 6 laser beams in the axes, they can slow particles down in all directions and thus cool them to very, very low temperatures. Clocks was the right answer.
Literally.
Question 3. When an object moves in circular motion due to a magnetic field, this quantity equals mass times velocity divided by the quantity radius times magnetic field strength. What is this quantity? Another quick clue. Capacitance equals this quantity divided by electric potential difference. What is this quantity?
Electrics.
It's not spin, TT guy, no.
Oh, bugger.
Yeah. Are you saying bugger because you can't quite remember, or bugger because your back's hurting, Alan?
Both.
The elementary value for this quantity was measured in Robert Millikan's oil drop experiment. It's not R.
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 It's not yet National Pirate Day yet.
Yeah.
What's the favourite letter? What's the favourite letter of the alphabet for a pirate?
R.
No. C.
Force of a magnetic field on a particle equals this quantity times the cross product of velocity with magnetic field. Not the electron volt, Alan Evans, no. Electric current is the rate of flow of this quantity. Does that give you a hint? Yes, that's right, Alan. Now you got it right. And the first person to get it right out in the peanuts was Truth Nerds. Yes, with charge. Electric charge. Name this quantity that is measured in coulombs and which is positive for protons and negative for electrons. It is charge. Yes. Question 4. An alloy of this element and niobium is used to make superconducting magnets. What's this element? Okay. This element is in many minerals, including with oxygen in limonite and rutile. What is this element? It's not beryllium, it's not lithium, no. From those minerals, the extra chloride of this element can be formed from the Kroll process. It's not molybdenum, no. The dioxide of this element is a white pigment that is often combined with zinc oxide in sunscreens. What is it? It's not neodymium.
No, he's thinking neodymium magnets.
Alan's got it correct. And he was just beaten, though, by Dave Cannabis out in the peanuts with titanium. The combination of high strength and low density of many alloys of this metal make them useful in spacecrafts and high-speed aircraft. Yeah. Though this metal is too expensive for most commercial cars, it has become common in prostheses. Name this element whose chemical symbol is Ti. It is titanium. All right, question 5. This musician often began concerts with the song When It's Sleepy Time Down South, even though it was controversial to African American audiences. Who is it?
No, not yet.
Not yet?
Not yet. I'm not familiar with that one.
I think there's a wrong clue in there.
Yeah. Unless his surname actually happens to equal this quantity.
That's a bit weird. How
Yeah. I'm never going to get this one with that clue. Oh, no.
What's going on here?
Oh, dear.
We got to answer 2 questions in the same one.
Oh, no. I don't know what's going on here. Let me find out. That's got me weird. Do you know who that is? I don't know. I must have copied the wrong thing across. I must have copied the previous slide.
Must have done.
Does anyone know who that's a picture of?
Louis Armstrong.
Yeah, it is. Louis Armstrong. There you go.
It was on the tip of my tongue.
Oh, wow.
Is it still there? Stick it out.
Okay. Yeah, question 6 then. The anthropologist Alfred Radcliffe Brown noticed that a serpent named for these things was a central figure in many Aboriginal Australian myths. What are these things? Come on, TT guy, you should know. Not spiders, no. Greek gods often sent messages using a goddess who travelled along these things. Not dream times, no. That goddess of these things, who cut a lock of Dido's hair when Dido was on the funeral pyre, was Iris. Not lightning, no. Come on. In Norse mythology, a burning bridge between Midgard and Asgard is one of these things called Bifrost.
Oh, God.
Name these things that in Irish mythology have a pot of treasure at the end guarded by a leprechaun.
Not even going to bother typing that in.
No. Yeah, the Peanuts got it long ago.
Yeah.
It is correct. It is a rainbow, yes. Question 7. This organisation carried out Operation Active Endeavour in the Mediterranean Sea shortly after invoking Article 5 for the first time. Who is it? Not UNHCR, Alan, no. This organisation's Article 10 governs its expansions. Big Blue's got it, and the first guy to get it out there was...
TT, I think.
The TT guy, yeah. Yeah, the TT guy, followed by Dora, followed by Truth Nerds, followed by Clive Wells. It is NATO, yeah. Headquarters of this organisation moved from Paris to Brussels when France pulled out of its military structure. In 1999 and 2004, this organisation added several Eastern European countries, which apparently triggered the Russians. Yeah.
Yeah.
In reaction to West Germany joining this organisation in 1955, the Warsaw Pact was formed. Name the organisation. Formed in 1949, an alliance of countries who were opposed to the Soviet Union. It was indeed NATO.
North Atlantic Treaties Organisation.
I was just going to ask for extra bonus points, if you could say.
Yeah, NATO.
Yeah. Question 8. A device that changes this quantity in an electrical signal is a combination of a rectifier and an inverter.
Yeah, Alan's got it already.
This quantity?
Alan's got it.
You reckon? You reckon?
Probably.
What do you reckon, Alan?
Not a diode. Not a transistor. No. What is this quantity, not device?
Ah.
It's not a device, folks. It's a quantity. A nonlinear electrical circuit called a mixer is sometimes named for the fact that it mixes two values of this quantity. It's not current. No. It's not voltage. That would be the one, Blue. Yes. Albert Einstein explained the photoelectric effect by describing a photon's energy as proportional to this quantity. I know Clive will get it now. Not amplitude. The TT guy got it now. It is frequency, yes. The speed of a wave is the product of the wavelength and this quantity. Using the most common unit for this quantity, it has a value between about 20 and 20,000 for audible sound. Name this quantity of waves that is the reciprocal of period and which is measured in hertz. It is frequency. The thing that flat earthers seem to think that everything's made of.
Yeah. What is it, the one thing I wouldn't think of?
Question 9. Poincare models allow for ultra and limiting versions of this concept. What is this concept? Those alternative types of this concept occur generally in hyperbolic geometry. What is this concept?
Meptardia.
Playfair's axiom is equivalent to this postulate named for this property, which is the last of Euclid's 5 postulates, not asymptotes, not infinity, no. Playfair's axiom, which is sometimes mistakenly described as the postulate named for this property, states that given a line and a point not on it, there is exactly one line through the point with this property relative to the original line.
Ooh.
If two lines have the same slope, they also have this property. And this property of lines that go in the same direction. And Big Blue finally comes out with it. Yes, but I think Truth Nerds got it first out in the Peanuts with parallel lines. Yeah. Last question. This character states, either my eyesight fails or thou lookest pale, shortly after saying, O God, I have an ill-divining soul. Who is this? It's not Macbeth. No, it's not King Lear. Soon after that, this character tells her mother that she's not feeling well, which causes her mother to ask, evermore weeping for your cousin's death? It's not Essie Montreal. It's not Richard. No. Earlier on, this character says, what's in a name? That which we call a rose by any other word would smell as sweet. Who is this? It's not Faust. And Big Blue got it, but TT Guy got it first. It is Juliet from Romeo and Juliet. She speaks those words while standing at her window during the balcony scene. Name this William Shakespeare character who asks her lover, wherefore art thou Romeo? That should have given it away. It is in fact Juliet. And there was your quiz for today.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, that wasn't too hard, was it? I don't hear any comment.
It was hard enough. A few of them I had a slight, but not quite.
I have to admit, I've been struggling because for the last few minutes I've been contemplating this comment from Bev. You do realise that spherical geometry is only 2D stolen concept geometry based on the Euclidean sphere, right?
Oh no.
Huh? Yeah, I'd be struggling. Somebody left a comment on his show from, I think, a couple of days ago, whatever. Because he thinks that tangents are straight lines, meaning that the angle is measured between two straight lines. Because he's trying to say that you can't measure between a straight line and a curve.
Oh, God.
And I pointed out that in Bev's mind, there's no such thing as mixed angles, curvilinear angles, spherical geometry, planes that are tangent to a sphere. And he come back and said, I understand that an angle is measured as the inclination of one straight line or plane to another. There's no other way to measure an angle. And I said, basically, no. So he's now trying to tell me that spherical geometry is a stolen concept based on the Euclidean sphere.
Well, there are multiple ways of measuring an idiot, and I think we just found one.
Yeah.
And I can't think of anything to come back to because it's just like, yeah, what?
You may as well be talking to a chimpanzee.
I think I'd probably get more sensible replies. Even if it just involved flinging shit at me. Oh, right.
Well,
That's
about
what
all-
he's doing.
That's about all. Yeah, that's all Bev does. Screams
TT,
no and throws food.
TT claims he got 5 out of 10 for that quiz. Does that mean he wins?
I don't know. What was the prize?
Oh, collect your prize,
Good knowledge.
TT.
The satisfaction of getting 5 out of 10 right.
I've got no idea what TT's quiz is going to be like when he gets to do it. We'll let the peanuts judge that.
Yes.
Heck, cell volume. Boy, you really had to dig deep for that one.
Well, nothing is something, Dora.
Is it? Oh, yes. TT guy. Do your quiz on Saturday. Yep.
Yeah, that'd be good because I remind you, Terry, I won't be here on Saturday. It's my dad's 80th birthday.
Oh,
so we're all going
okay.
out for dinner. Yeah.
Oh.
And somebody else may
I
not
won't
be here either.
I won't be here on Saturday because I'm going down Kent Way to the Weald Foundation to go and look at tanks and military vehicles and stuff.
But you're getting some happy snaps for us. That's good proof that you went there.
Don't you worry. There will be photos aplenty. That's why I wanted to go and get the air conditioning recharged on my car on Friday, because I don't want to drive all the way down there and back going, I wish my air conditioning worked.
Don't you have windows?
Yeah, what, 80 mile an hour on the motorway? Not a good idea. And when the air outside's no bloody cooler than the air inside, it don't, yeah.
What, isn't a motorbike even cooler again?
I'm not going all the way down there on the bloody motorbike. I will be a wreck. After about 40 miles, some things hurt and other things have no feeling at all. No. I'm not even sure I could get down there on one tank of petrol, to be honest. I can't remember how far it is, but if it's any more than 130 miles, no.
I thought you'd have been pushed.
Hang on. Let's have a look. Directions from home. Oh, just 127 miles. If I filled the tank up, I can just about get there on one tank of petrol and be in absolute agony for the rest of the day. And then still have to come home. And yes, truth nerds, I have seen the new Panther tank. Somebody in Germany has decided to come up with a new main battle tank for Germany, and they're calling it the Panther.
When will they ever get to use it, though? That's the thing.
Well, problem with these things, you kind of hope not to have to use them.
They can lend them to Ukraine and they can test them.
Yeah.
I don't want to be up all night. I'm a bit sore and tired myself tonight. I went and mowed the front lawn yesterday, and today I raked it all and took it out of me.
Yeah, it can take you by surprise, can't it?
It was too long to catch it with the catcher. What happens usually with me with lawns. Let it get too long.
Why is Zebulon so far behind?
Yeah, how are you that far back?
Cross, what are you, an hour back or something?
Yeah, that's going back a bit, that one. Yeah, that's an hour. Or maybe more. Hour and a half.
Bloody hell.
Over an hour. Okay, well obviously we're going to have... Oh, Did they finish over there? Creaky's finished already. How long, I don't know how long he went for. They wanted to see if there was any traitors over in the peanuts over there.
I have to say, I saw Professor Phil in there.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just
And I
scrolling up
saw
through
somebody
the
else
chat.
in here after.
Yeah, there's Phil. Can't see anyone else. Can't really see anyone I recognise.
Oh, there was another name I recognised, but they did at least come and visit us afterwards.
Oh, that's okay. Okay, I can close that tab. I don't need Creaky.
That's just reading the description of that new German tank. Ooh, that's a nice bit of kit.
No, we're not playing Lindsay today, so that scraps that.
Oh no, you'll have to have double Lindsay on Saturday.
Yeah. Yeah,
you might be here, farmer.
I know. I'm just so cut up about that.
Blue, you better not
Lindsay
say
on
you got an
Saturday.
appointment with the doctors either.
I just remembered I've got to trim my toenails on Saturday.
And Alan's going out to do some photographs. So I'm going to be here on my own.
Actually, I'm not quite so impressed with looking at the forecast for the weekend.
No, it's building up to Friday and then it's going to shit basically. From what I can see.
I've got good weather here now. The wind's dropped completely and it's nice and sunny, and yeah, I broke a sweat outside today.
Yeah, I'm still showing that 10-degree difference between Friday and Saturday. 31 Friday, 21 Saturday.
And as soon as the sun goes down behind the mountain, the temperature just goes. I wonder why.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Who we got? Anton. I did want to watch Anton's is Earth's magnetic field flipping. Study discovers important data. That's Anton one. And we should have Simon's. Yeah, okay. I'll definitely play Anton. 2-minute quickie from Simon and finish off with his.
Oh, not John.
This man thinks that aliens are the spirits of ancient giants. Somebody gone? John's gone already, has he?
John Rapp's bailing out.
It's past his bedtime, is it?
I guess so.
Yeah, all the Aussies are dropping out. What's only 10 past 12? Night time.
Daytime?
Nighttime.
We've had the moon. We've had a nice full moon out the last couple of nights. I don't know where it is tonight.
I didn't see the moon, but I heard a military helicopter come over very low. So I nipped out the back of the house to see what it was. Didn't have any lights on. Interesting that. That was definitely. It wasn't a Chinook, but it was a big military type from the racket it was making, and he was not very high. He couldn't have been more than a couple of 100 feet, if that.
But at night,
that's why I nipped out the back to have a look. Yeah, nighttime. Yeah.
How did he see where he was going? They have lights on.
Oh, they have the old. They have the old night vision if they need it.
Puma, then, I guess.
Puma Merlin sized sort of from the racket it was making, but it was running dark. There was no lights at all. I thought, oh, maybe it's above the clouds. I thought, hang on a minute, I can see the bloody stars. There aren't any clouds.
No cloud.
I couldn't see him at all. I have encountered that before, but that was out by RAF Mildenhall one time, and they used to have, I don't know whether they're still there, there used to be a special operations group based there, and they had a big old H-53 and the specially adapted Hercules. And me and my mate were driving past the end of the runway one night, and this Hercules came over, because that's where the landing lights start. They're outside of the airbase, and he come over, and I thought he was going to have the roof of the van off, but we couldn't see him. Not until we could see him against the runway lights. He was running completely dark. So
That's pretty dangerous flying around without anti-collision lights. So
yep, there was not a thing, nothing. Like I say, I've seen it before when it's the special operations guys, but we don't generally get that out here. So I don't know what that was.
When I was 14, I got shoved in the back of a Puma as a passenger while it did night underslung load exercises.
Not that.
So my biggest comeback from that? I was still only wearing a shirt and it was bloody freezing. Back of that.
Yeah.
With the doors open. The doors open both sides so the loadie can lean out and look at the load.
That's it. So he's got a good view down below. Yeah. Air conditioning on.
Yeah.
hello, wonderful people.
Press
play, please.
Play.
Hello wonderful person, this is Anton, and today we're going to be discussing the magnetic field of our planet. And I guess more specifically, we're going to be discussing the idea behind the magnetic flip of the magnetic field of our planet, where the magnetic lines flip from north to south. Something we know happened in the past many times. As a matter of fact, previous studies have identified hundreds of such events by looking at various deposits and various sediments, where it becomes quite visible that the north used to be south and the south used to be north. Something that we know usually is preceded.
They usually can find that in the rocks, can't they, with the magnetic fields that are in the rock that's in the strata of the rock layers.
Oh, yes, I believe
Something
so.
like
Yeah.
By
geologically spreading.
Yeah.
A sudden weakening of the magnetic field, with the event itself very likely lasting for a few hundred years. Which of course suggests that during such an event, the magnetic field of planet Earth might actually disappear for at least some time. And because a lot of the modern technology directly depends on the existence of the magnetic field on planet Earth, it's actually something that we would like to understand and learn more about. It's one of the more important topics when it comes to studying planet Earth. But I guess the question is, what makes the scientists believe that the magnetic field could be potentially flipping soon? Well, there are two main reasons for this. One of them is in regards to the geological record of the planet in the last 200 years. The scientists determined that the magnetic field has weakened by approximately 9% in total. In other words, the field was about 9% stronger approximately 200 years ago. On top of this, there's a really unusual anomaly that's been forming in the South Atlantic region that you can sort of see as this black dot right there somewhere in South America. This is known as the South Atlantic Anomaly, and it's something that the scientists have known about since 1958. As a matter of fact, this particular black dot has already caused a lot of problems to a lot of different space missions. Now, some of them are not particularly dramatic, like for example the Hubble telescope is actually usually unable to take any pictures in this area and has to fly through it without doing any kind of science, but some of them have been a lot more dramatic. Although I guess the first question here is, how exactly is this formed? Well, today the scientists believe that it's because of the inner Van Allen's radiation belt that comes extremely close to the planet's surface, going down to an altitude of about 200 kilometers or 120 miles in this particular region. And because of this dramatically increases the overall radiation that a lot of satellites or any kind of a spacecraft flying through here will experience by going through the region. And on top of this, the overall Earth's magnetic field is also much weaker in this region as well. Moreover, it's been established that the overall field intensity in this region has dramatically decreased in the last 150 to 200 years. Yet the overall area has increased by approximately 5 times, which implies that this particular anomaly seems to be increasing in size but decreasing in strength, meaning that it's creating a kind of a magnetic hole. And even though it doesn't simply change in the southern part of the anomaly, it has been expanding to the northwest, to the north, and to the northeast. And because of this, since the beginning of the space age, it's actually created a lot of problems for a lot of different things. We're talking about things in space. including astronauts, including the International Space Station. For example, all of the astronauts that have spent enough time flying through this region have usually reported unusual white dots flashing in their eyes. They're sometimes referred to as the phosphenes or the astronaut's eye. More officially, they're known as the cosmic ray visual phenomena and are believed to be formed either because the cosmic rays are striking retina or maybe even neurons, or possibly because the cosmic rays are producing what's known as the Cherenkov radiation in the liquid of the astronaut's eyes. The actual mechanism is not understood completely yet, but we know that this is a fact and it's been observed by pretty much everyone, especially in this region. It also obviously implies that by flying through here, the astronauts are exposed to way more radiation than usual. And because of this, there are a lot of different measures ISS has taken over the years to protect the astronauts when they're in this area. On top of this, at least one satellite network known as Globalstar has actually completely failed back in 2007 because of this particular area and because of the extreme radiation that the satellites were exposed to. It was also reported that pretty much all of the computers on the space shuttle would usually crash and create a lot of errors when the space shuttle moved through this area as it approached the ISS. But one of the most expensive losses to date was the Japanese Hitomi satellite, which very likely started to fail as it passed through this area, with a lot of different devices failing afterwards. This was a really expensive mission, but it only lasted for approximately a month, and was supposed to be the most powerful X-ray telescope Japan would have ever launched. And so the growing South Atlantic anomaly, along with the overall weakening of the magnetic field in the last 200 years, presented the scientists with a bit of a concern. Is the magnetic field about to flip? Or are we about to experience what's known as the excursion, with the most famous one being the so-called La Champ excursion that happened approximately 42,000 years ago. It's also sometimes known as the La Champ event, and is believed to have occurred for over a period of about 800 years. During that time, it's also believed that the magnetic field of the planet might have been actually completely gone. And during that time, the poles have also temporarily flipped, but then flipped back to the original position, with the field returning back to normal within approximately 1,000 years. Now, we've actually talked about this event in the past, and it's a very well-known and well-studied phenomenon, but what exact effects this had on planet Earth is not really understood today either. We do, however, have some really unusual correlation with this event. So approximately 42,000 years ago, that's when, for example, a lot of megafauna that used to be present on the planet started to disappear as well. Now, we still have no clear evidence that it happened because of the event, but the correlation is still there. Around this time, this is also when our cousins, the Neanderthals, went extinct as well. But more intriguingly, this is also when a lot of cave art appeared around the planet, with the implication here being that maybe the early humans were sort of forced to live in caves a lot more often because of the inhospitable conditions outside. Now, obviously, a lot of these are very, very big speculations, but a lot of scientists have been speculating about this for many years now, with some other speculations including the climate change in the North Europe and North Asia, and possibly a lot of other things that happened to the planet in those 800 years. In other words, whatever happened on the planet during that time was very likely not good for life on the planet. And so, are we headed for another one? That's basically the big question here, because the signs from the anomaly and from the weakening of the field kind of imply that. But the recent study argues against that, and actually that's not the only study out there. Many studies today have finally figured out that chances are we're not actually headed for any kind of excursion or any kind of a flip. And here's why they think so. So first of all, a very wide paleomagnetic record has officially showed us that the magnetic field of the planet right now is much stronger than it's been in the last few millions of years. It's only weakened by a little bit in the last few hundreds of years, but when comparing this to the field from approximately 100,000 years ago, it seems to be very strong, and it's actually twice as strong as 1,000,000 years ago. So in other words, even though the field might have weakened by 9% in the last 200 years, overall it actually strengthened dramatically over the period of 100,000 years. Okay, but what about that South Atlantic anomaly? And so that's exactly what this new study focuses on. The scientists here realized if they can actually find more of these anomalies in the last, let's just say, 9,000 years, it might help us understand that this is something that just generally happens to our planet. And that's exactly what they did. They collected a lot of magnetic record using, for example, pottery that usually contains signs of the magnetic flips and magnetic reversals, or just generally allows us to even measure the magnetic field in the past. They've also looked at the deposits from various sediments and various volcanic rocks on the planet, and determined that overall, in both North America and Middle East and Europe, the magnetic field did actually change quite a lot in the last 9,000 years. But more importantly, they did discover at least one other similar anomaly that happened somewhere in the region of North America and potentially also happened in the region of the Middle East. Or it could have actually been the same anomaly that sort of moved around and shifted around the planet over a period of several hundred years. And in terms of the actual size and strength of the anomaly, you can see in this image that it was extremely similar to what we have today in South America. The anomaly that was present in North America very likely started around the year of 1600 BC and lasted for at least 1300 years, disappearing almost completely within just a few hundred years afterwards. And I guess one of the more unusual and more interesting discoveries in this particular paper can be seen in this graph. It shows us that the strength of the field around the entire planet didn't just recover, but it actually bounced back to levels that were much higher than before, and stayed at these levels for at least a few hundred years as well. With this being a really important discovery, it means that whatever is happening in South America right now is not just a temporary event, it's very likely an event that's going to reverse completely, returning the magnetic field to normal levels, but then might even cause the magnetic field to strengthen dramatically, which might last for several hundred years. And so in other words, it really shows us that this is not an anomaly at all. It's just some kind of event we don't really understand very well, and it's something that very likely happens to our planet pretty regularly because of some unusual activity inside the planet. And this, by the way, could have a potential solution in another paper that we've discussed only a few months ago, or I guess maybe a few years ago, depending on when you're watching this video. The video itself should be in the description, but in a nutshell, not so long ago, the scientists realized there are these unusual magnetic waves that seem to be propagating inside the planet, very close to the core of the planet, and they seem to be doing so every 7 years. Kind of like these really large magnetic tsunamis that we still don't understand. And chances are that this is exactly what's causing these effects on the surface of the planet, but we obviously have no idea how any of this works just yet. But the important message in this paper is really the fact that we probably have nothing to worry about when it comes to the magnetic flip or the potential excursion where the magnetic field disappears completely. At the moment, there's a very high chance nothing major is happening to the planet, and the magnetic field will very likely remain strong or even strengthen in the next few hundreds of years. Which is obviously great news because without the magnetic field, we're going to have to go back a few hundred years in terms of the technology. We might not be ever able to use any electronics ever again if the magnetic field disappears. But this new study does provide us with some good news, and chances are the scientists behind the study are actually correct. The discovery of this anomaly in North America suggests that calling them anomalies is maybe not really correct. It's some kind of an event that happens to the planet, but we don't understand how or why. But I guess the next important step is to try to analyze this ancient anomaly a little bit more in order to determine how the South Atlantic anomaly is going to evolve and what we can expect in the next few decades and a few hundreds of years. Because, as you probably know, the space technology is getting more complex. And a lot of our modern civilization and modern way of life depends on space technology. And so by being able to somehow protect satellites when they fly through this area and when they're affected by this anomaly, and by being able to prevent the potential damage, is actually something that the scientists would really like to understand more and would like to find a solution to. Because that magnetic hole is not going away and is still growing. We don't really know for how long, but as long as it's there, the satellites are still going to be in danger. And obviously also the astronauts that are still on the International Space Station. And so trying to learn more about this is super important. But I guess for now, that's kind of all we know. A really interesting discovery, a very important study, but something we'll be talking more about in some of the future videos. And so until then, thank you for watching, subscribe, maybe share this with someone who loves learning about space and sciences, and maybe come back tomorrow to learn something else. Support this channel on Patreon by joining channel membership or by buying the Wonderful Person t-shirt you can find in the description. Stay wonderful, I'll see you tomorrow, and as always, bye bye.
Bye bye. Oh, that was interesting.
Yeah.
So, satellites can fall from the sky, and we're not going to be able to use our technology anymore, so...
Oh well.
No magnetic field. How's the flat Earth is going to be able to find out which way south?
Do you know, if all that happens, I think that's the least of their worries. And ours. Oh, excuse me.
The door goes, we are doomed. And that reminds me of the bloke out of Dad's Army.
We're doomed.
We're doomed.
Don't panic.
Doesn't the flip take 1,000 years to complete? I don't know. What did he speculate that how long it takes if it did? And what will happen if it's stronger? Don't know.
Only one way to find out.
Not in our lifetime, anyway. I'd say.
No.
It'd be gradual and things like that. Okay, what's Dean saying? The Earth mag fields stop most charged particles from destroying computers. So,
yes, quite.
Oh, now we know what happened to some of those satellites that were up there.
It's that damn dielectric field that's causing it.
Ah.
Yeah. Everyone would have to rely on gyro compasses instead of magnetic compasses.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Well, the way the magnetic field's moving away from the poles as it is now, even from what the records show over time.
It just likes to wander around, that's all.
Yeah. Taking the sides.
Yeah, Fundle said it's not going to be all that bad. Floodies will not be able to make YouTube nonsense and we'll have to fall back to leaflet campaigns. No, I don't think that turned out well with certain flat earthers. Going around with leaflets.
Mm-mm.
You just had to adjust adjustment of 90 degrees to get the true north. Are fortune cookies from China? What do you reckon?
Fortune cookies were invented in America.
I think so.
I remember the first time that I tried chicken and sweet corn soup. It was on a lad's holiday in Tenerife and I was blown away. I'd always been a fan of Chinese food, but this was something else. And on that fateful day, we also opened a bunch of fortune cookies and we all laughed and joked at each other's destinies, but what I didn't know back then is that fortune cookies aren't actually from China. Now, because of these little after dinner treats, which sees 3 billion produced per year, you would be forgiven for thinking that fortune cookies are ingrained in Chinese history and culture. So to find out where they really come from, we need to go all the way back to the Japanese 1800s and then the American 1900s. In the 1870s, some sweet shops in Japan were selling a folded cookie with a hollow center called a fortune cracker. It didn't have the well-known vanilla flavor of today though. It was made with sesame and miso instead. This cracker likely ended up in the United States in the late 1800s to early 1900s when Japanese immigrants came to Hawaii and California. It wasn't until 1911 where a local LA bakery called Benkyodo changed the flavour to the buttery vanilla style we know today and found out a way to mass produce them. Now this is a point of contention though, because 3 other sources claim to invent this modern fortune cookie at around the same time. Now after the Pearl Harbor attacks in 1941, Japanese businesses in the US began to close, which left a gaping fortune cookie hole in the market, which the Chinese Americans happily filled. So there we go. Next time you'll find yourself about to crack open a fortune cookie after a meal, why don't you tell the tale of how they came to be at your table? I've been Simon Dan. This has been another Misconception Mini, and I'll see you next time. Subscribe here. Definitely click that one, 100% click that one, and then more videos there. Click that one as well if you want. I mean, they're there, so you may as well click them. That one's quite good, but you know, equally that one too.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
I've never opened a fortune cookie.
Never had one.
They're quite common over here, but of course then they would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, mass produced. I was getting some bleed through before and I muted Alan, but I think Alan disappeared. I will finish off with Simon's. This man thinks that aliens are the spirits of ancient giants.
Really?
Of course.
Yeah.
Just all the old Tartarian line of thinking, similar. Giants and... dunno.
Press play, Terry.
Okay.
Who remembers Dave Murphy trying to arrest the police a few months ago?
I'm going to have to arrest you, sir. Suspicion of...
You're all guilty.
Suspicion of conducting public.
Well, as amusing as that was, he was indeed wrong. And he seems to be making a habit of that because not only is he a flat earther and a COVID denier, he also thinks the Nephilims will return. What does that mean? Let's find out.
It means he's barking.
Hello all and welcome along to another episode of Tinfoil Tuesday with me, Simon Dan. Thank you very much for joining me. Before we begin today, a huge thank you to the sponsors of today's video, Established Titles. Established Titles is a project based on historic custom where landowners are referred to as land to get your gift now and help support the channel. Right, back to today's video where flat earther Dave Murphy, or allegedly Dave as he's known on YouTube, is at a conference. The Holy Grail of the Great Reset conference, actually. Wow, that's a thing, is it? Okay. Well, we joined Dave just after he started his presentation.
So the rise of the Nephilim, the Nephilim giants.
Oh,
so the Nephilim had very, very strange traits, well, according to the rest of the regular humans. First one, obviously, was giantism.
Yes, obviously. Giantism. We totally should have known that, shouldn't we? I think though that there is a difference between abnormally large humans and the fictional creatures which you're calling Nephilim. According to your Bible, Dave, these Nephilim creatures were 137 meters tall.
Giantism is still around today. It's still around today, but you know, when you look for giant people, what the mainstream will show you are kind of slightly misshapen people who are very weak. They have to have a walking stick and stuff like that. But no.
Nikolai Valuev in the top right-hand corner there was a professional heavyweight boxer. He is 2.13 meters tall. He doesn't look too weak to me.
There are anatomically correct, very powerful giant people still walking around on the earth today. Another one is 6 fingers and toes. This happens more often than you realise. I believe Oprah and Halle Berry have 6 toes. Yeah.
Now, recently, Halle Berry actually proved that she didn't.
What's that, Alan?
They're all from Norfolk then, 6 fingers and 6 toes on each.
Yep.
I was a common over in Norfolk.
Well, you need them for splodging around in the swamps.
Have 6 toes on the Ellen show. However, this does actually occur in around 1 in 1,000 babies roughly. That's either having 6 fingers or 6 toes on one hand at least. It does not mean anything though. It's just a medical condition.
It happens more often than you realise. Next one is excess body hair. Okay, there are people walking around. You wouldn't see them because they shave all the way up to the neckline and that. But they take their shirt off. It's like gorilla.
So, what has that got to do with the Nephilim? Are they supposed to be hairy giants with 6 fingers and toes?
And here's a big one. Skin lacking in melanin. Sounds a bit inflammatory, but the thing is, without melanin, white skin is susceptible to the sun.
So albinism then, Dave, doesn't really make a lot of sense though, does it? Having giant 137 metre tall beings descended from angels who can't actually be out in the thing that God created in order to give us light.
And it's the only thing in this world where the sun doesn't energise, it harms. Next one is hair lacking in melanin. Not much to say about that, but just interestingly, one of the angels taught men makeup.
Come on, Dave. Now, come on. Angels taught us about makeup. You are having a laugh. You're pulling our leg. Come on.
And you just wondered why they would teach makeup. I think it was for their daughters who looked very, very alien. You know, if you ignore that right eye, you know, think how alien she would have looked to people, say, who look like
How do you
me.
know what aliens look like?
Not alien at all, Dave. She looks human, just like the rest of us, regardless of skin tone.
Blue eyes, which is, again, eyes without melanin.
Most blue eyes do actually have some melanin in, Dave. It's a spectrum, from light blue to dark blue to green to hazel to brown.
Blue eyes are always considered the evil eye. If you ever go to Turkey, you might see that amulet all over the place, everywhere, hanging from cars, you know, and from the shops, in their front windows, hanging around their necks. It's to ward off the evil eye.
Dave, this has got nothing to do with the eye being blue. It is to protect you from getting an evil eye directed towards you, sort of a malevolent glare, and not necessarily a blue colour either.
Because blue eyes were considered illegal at one point, would you believe?
Show me one piece of evidence, one source that says this, Dave.
So there's one a consequence for having no melanin in the eyes. It's called eye sunburn. Has anybody ever heard of eye sunburn? Well, they show this you know, in this news article, they show this eye with, you know, a bit bloodshot perhaps, but that's not it. Brace yourself.
Now at this point, Dave shows some real eye sunburn pictures here, and they're pretty graphic. Look it up yourself if you want to see them. But of course, all eyes are susceptible to eye sunburn, not just the blue ones. Yes, people with brown eyes will have slightly more protection, but UV light from the sun will burn no matter what the eye colour. Let's move on to Dave's explanation as to what the Nephilim actually are today, in today's day and age.
So, the thing about the giants, the Nephilim, is that when they died, their spirits couldn't go anywhere. They were stuck on earth as disembodied spirits. They became known by lots and lots of different names. Nature spirits, but mostly demons.
And there we go. Dave is attributing the existence of demons to ancient dead Nephilim. Wonderful.
Evil spirits. The Nephilim were given half the lifespan of a human. Now at that time, humans were living sort of 900 years.
Oh, and you have evidence for this, do you, Dave? I'm sure you do. Oh, no, wait, you don't. You don't have evidence for this. It just says it in the Bible. Right, okay.
Or so. And the Nephilim were cursed to have a maximum of 500 years. I think the Nephilim still have half the lifespan of humanity, which is why they have to go to extraordinary lengths to stay here. Heard of adrenochrome? Anyone? Yeah. Yeah?
No, Dave, you didn't just... Adrenochrome is a drug which QAnon believers is harvested from the children of the Hollywood elites that gives immortality, promises immortality to those that take it. So Dave, let me get this straight for 1 minute. You are claiming that the dead albino offspring of fallen angels, which by the way are 130 odd meters tall with 6 fingers and toes and really hairy, are now roaming the earth as demons after trying to live longer, taking a drug which you think was harvested from the children of Hollywood elites.
Yep, seems legit.
Doesn't seem far-fetched at all, Dave.
No.
So the thing is about these demonic spirits, the one thing they want to be more than anything is incarnate again, which is, you know, possession. Possession is real. I actually absolutely believe possession is real.
Of course possession is real. I possess a cat. You possess a brain of sorts, Dave. We all possess something. Let's skip to the point where Dave ties this all together with aliens.
So, again, the alien abduction phenomena, there are no such thing as aliens. It's a flat earth, okay? No such thing as aliens. Aliens are actually demons, demon spirits.
Well, that's a relief.
Well,
Aliens are nothing more than the dead spirits of the giant Nephilim people of old. I was worried for a second there.
All these experiments, all these alien abduction experiments, centre around reproduction.
Do they? If you say so, Dave. I thought they usually centre around probing, but hey, what do I know?
They do all these experiments about reproduction. Now, I'm linking it to, before the flood, there was the book of Jasher tells you they were mixing humans and animals, right? And I think it's all about trying to build bodies to be hosts for Nephilim spirits.
Listen to all the crowd agreeing with him. I cannot fathom, I cannot understand how grown adults can sit there and be happy that back in the days of the Bible, people were mixed with animals in an attempt to host the ancient Nephilim species. It's just pure nonsense.
This is an effort that's been always ongoing. And again, a bit of an aside here. Right now we have, I don't know if anyone's seen this, the D-Wave quantum computer. Has anybody heard of it? Right, so this quantum computer, it's just funny that if you just mess around with the name of it, you get demon.
And if you mess around with your name, Dave, and you're like this, you get Humpy Vader. Now, I don't know about all of you, but that screams Sith tendencies to me. I've had enough of Humpy Vader for today. I'm sure the rest of his presentation makes about as much sense as this little segment that we've just seen, i.e. no sense at all. I will make an attempt to sit through the rest of it, but I don't know if I'll be able to do it. Bear with me. Anyway, we're all done and dusted for another Tinfoil Tuesday. Thank you so much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed it. Those of you who are waiting for Hans Wormhat's top 5 fake animals, don't worry, that's coming next week. A huge thank you for watching today. It really is appreciated. If you enjoyed it, then hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well. Please do consider subscribing. We're doing a real push now for 500,000 subscribers. And as I said, if you really enjoyed it, hit that like button too. Just enough time to once again thank Established Titles for sponsoring today. Remember, hit the link in the description or go to establishedtitles.com/SimonDan to get 10% off. I've been Simon Dan. Have yourselves a fantastic week, and I'll see you tomorrow for another Misconception Mini. See you then.
What a load of old bollocks.
Good old Humpy. We can always count on him, can't we?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Jesus.
I swear these people get crazier by the day.
Don't they just? And I do, most of these images they put up when they're going on about giants, they came from an image challenge. There used to be a website called Worth 1000. As in the picture's worth 1,000 words. Mm-hmm. And it's long defunct. It shut down years ago. And that was, they used to put, have an image challenge a week to do something. And it was all people who sort of did Photoshop and manipulation and that sort of thing. And some of it was absolutely blindingly clever. And one of their challenges was giants.
Yeah.
And most of the images you see come from that.
Yeah.
So not gonna show somebody's new video then, Terry?
We can play that to finish.
Well, it's not very long. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
Can't believe you had to be so subtle, Alan.
Oh, it's the new George Lucas.
Well, yeah, I don't normally have to be this subtle, but
No. Oh, excuse me.
I think a fair number of people in the peanut gallery might have seen it.
There's no sound, I gather.
But there is some sound.
There is some sound.
Yeah,
Okay.
there is audio for the second half.
Remember back in the day we did audio commentary while when you drove around Yarmouth?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I suppose I ought to find.
Yeah, we need some commentary.
Oh, it's St Peter and St Paul Church, Rectory Bastwick. Videoed on the morning of the 12th of June.
There you go. This is a church.
So it was very, very early in the morning.
Yeah.
I might have had to leave home at 3:30 in the morning to catch that. I'm sure farmers just recognised that loud squawk.
Sounds like a bird.
Yeah. Well, funny you should mention that.
I think I might have talked over it actually.
We have birds over here, you know.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of those bloody annoying pheasants was squawking in the background.
Oh yeah.
We find a lot of birds down on the beach in summer.
Don't think they're that sort of birds.
I was talking about seagulls.
Oh right, okay. Yeah.
What were you talking about, Farmer?
Birds.
Yeah, okay. Joe says, I thought birds were fake.
Well, they are.
Yeah, of course
Not
they're
bloody
fake.
lot of them.
Just ask Hans Wormhat.
Yes. Yeah, well, according to him, everything's fake.
Peanuts are fake.
No, they're not. I'm just about to have some.
Oh, okay.
They're still resumes, whatever the hell they have. Yeah. Fake nuts.
Fake nuts? They're fake.
They're not nuts. Peanuts aren't nuts.
Well, what are you eating then, Farmer?
Nuts. Definitely eating nuts. No product placement here. KP,
no,
dry
yeah,
roasted
yeah.
peanuts.
Oh, well, the peanuts can't see it anyway.
No, they can't.
I don't know. Have we got a brand name for nuts over here?
Well, there you go. That was very
Yeah.
picturesque.
Very, very photographic, whatever the word is. Cinematograph, something word, whatever it is.
Very churchy.
Oh, church, okay.
Very churchy.
I just thought it'd be a nice, relaxing way to finish off.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's cool. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, the birds even chirped at the right time.
Yeah.
On cue. Well, that's your lot for the week. Or the day. Or the night. Daytime, nighttime. Sorry. Too slow. Too slow. Who'd we have? Joe, Biggest Doggers, Dora, Farmer's Boy, Stevie B, Truth Nerds, Joe Whip, Biggest Doggers again. Gotta scroll up. Where's everyone? Room Fondle, Anamorphic, PJ, CNet, Stewie. I'll go further. Dora. I know Carl was out there earlier. And we had our resident flirter out there. He dropped in earlier, Gary. TT guy. Dean was out there, Stingray. Where is everybody? They're all hiding. Did I say Zebulon? Dave, Cannabis, Clive Wells, John Rapp. Truth Nerds, did I say Truth Nerds? Might repeat someone, as usual. Oh, I keep getting feedback from Alan now and again. I can't find anyone else. Who have I missed? Ex-Penguin, 95. I can't go any further. If I've missed out on you, I'm sorry. Oh, Joe Whip. Do we win a prize? Yeah, collect it on at the door on the way out.
Yeah, you'll notice yours has got your name on it.
Yeah. Every Fondle. Stevie V. Yeah, see you later, Stevie. Oh. Well, thanks, Alan. Thanks, Farmer's Boy. Thanks, John Napier. Thank the Mr. Big Blue.
You betcha.
And it's good night from me, and it's good night from the panel, and good night, Peanuts.
Good night, Peanuts.
Good night, Peanuts.